What's going on? What's going on, film fam? Welcome to another episode of Let the Film Speak. I am one of your hosts, Chop. Here, my main man, Willie Jack. Willie Jack, how you doing this Wednesday evening, my mans?
Well, it was a rough opening weekend for your dog, man. You know what I'm saying? I go ahead and put it out there. It was a rough opening weekend for your dog. But you know what, chap? Don't matter at all, man. Because you know why? Because it's Wednesday and I'm still talking about with my dog, man. So I'm ready to go ahead and talk about all this week one action for sure.
That's right, man. It didn't go so well for you. It wouldn't look good for me. It wouldn't look good for your boy. Now, I don't know how long this gonna last, so I'm gonna enjoy it while it's here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna enjoy it while it's here, my dog. Enjoy it while it's here. But today's episode, of course, y'all know what we do, man. We in not mid-season form, but the season has started, man. So y'all know what we do on Wednesday nights, man. We come with the recap of the full week one slate of games, and it's official, y'all. Football is back. We've seen a full slate of games. Every team has played now. Now we just, waiting to see how it's going to all play out. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely get a recap of the games. We're going to talk about who we felt like who was the performer of the week. We're going to break down everything for y'all today. But, of course, first, we got to jump into the house rules, and they are the same as always. That's like, that share, that subscribe, tap in with your boys. If you're here, check in with us right now, man. If you're in this chat, go ahead and hit your name, man, or say what's up to us. Whatever you want to do, man. Just tap in with your boys if you're in here in the chat right now. Become the newest member of the Film Fam. We appreciate all the support that each and every one of you guys, show and all the love that you guys bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? And talk to us, man. Talk about the issue. If you got a point you want to make when we talk about some of these games, talk to us, man. We talk back to you. We like to point out those comments, especially if you got a good one, man. But last but not least, there's one more. Also, hit the notification bell. How else are you going to know when me and Willie Jack got something going on? You know what I'm saying? When we got cooking in the kitchen, you know what I'm saying? What's next coming up for you boys? But at this point, it's set in stone now. It's Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays at 7, Sundays at 10. Y'all know what it is, man. I know where we're going to be, man. But I guarantee you, we will not let you down. First announcement I got today before we jump into the news, Willie Jack. The first announcement is, please don't forget to get them pick'ems in. All right. Don't forget to get them pick'ems in. Get your picks in. We already had 1 week of pick'ems going already, man. 1 week of pick'ems going in already. And my wife was already bragging, man. She said, hey, I'm in second right now. What y'all gonna do with her? You know what I'm saying? Some people call her Miss Chop. Some people call her Mrs. Boyce. But she say she in the building, man. And she say, what y'all gonna do with her? After 1 week, man, we got Pretty Tony. My dog Miles is in first place with 12 W's, man. 12. We got 12 games right in the first week, man. The boy was on fire, man. The boy was on fire, Willie Jack. So, hey, it looked like we got our work cut out for us this season, man. So make sure y'all getting those picks in. You know what I'm saying? It's not too late. I've seen people make comebacks before. So if you still want to get in with us, I need y'all to put in that chat. I want in. Let us know. Say, I want in. We can get you in that weekly pick. We can add you to the group and see if you can catch up, man. So get y'all picks in.
Hey, look, like I tell y'all a lot of times, man, look, it's a marathon, man. It ain't a sprint. You know what I'm saying? It's a marathon, it ain't a sprint, man. It's still tons of time. Yeah.
That's right. It's the who has the most wins at the end of the season, not week by week. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna keep y'all updated each and every week, man, of who's in first, who's doing what, so y'all know what's going on. All right. But on to the news, Willie Jack. On to the news, man. All-Pro defensive tackle Chris Jones has signed a deal, man. They signed a 1-year deal. It didn't extend any years in this deal. They actually they didn't disclose what the deal was and all the information. Willie Jack, I don't know if you have much information, but I tried to find it. I couldn't find much information on it as far as the specific numbers. But apparently it's a good enough deal to get him back on the field. And of course, they need him and they want him. He is a game changer for sure. And I know they're happy to have him back in their building with his guys and getting prepared for this upcoming week's game.
And I had saw something as well, and just like you said, man, the details weren't made readily available, but I had saw a meme or some style of post that kind of had a little breakdown. So I think he gets $1 million incentive pay for playing 25% of this season snaps, another $1 million incentive pay when he reaches 50% of this season snaps. So those two are pretty much gimmies. Assuming he stays healthy, those ones are pretty much gimmies. So he's got $2 million added to the bank. Like I said, all things as it should be. Then I think one of the incentives was he gets 1.25 million if he gets to 10 sacks. And then if he gets to 15 sacks, he gets another 500,000 added to that. And then if he is the defensive player of the year and they win the Super Bowl, I think that's worth another like million and a half. And then I think if he's an all pro and they reach the Super Bowl, that's another million and a half or something like that. So I think all told, I think he was slated to make just under 20 million. He was slated at like 19 and change. And so I think with all the new incentives, I think that number now is closer to 25, 26, something like that. Oh wait. Oh, okay, 2 million for Super Bowl MVP. Oh, no, our dog Kevin, man. Our dog Kevin real did STL Sports, man. He in the
He's coming with some numbers, man.
building real heavy already, man. So I'm looking at his comments, and I think it. So it looks like okay. So maybe there's 25 million possible total worth with the new incentives. Okay. So yeah, now shout out to our dog, man. Shout out to Real Deal STL Sports, man. Getting busy.
For sure. For
Oh,
sure.
and also, man, hey, our dog Kevin from Real Deal, man. He definitely said he won't see in. So yeah, hey Kevin, for sure, bro. Shoot us a private message on probably the group's page on our Facebook group
Yeah,
page.
and he usually sends us a message through Facebook. So send me your email through
Exactly.
that, man. I'm gonna send that information over to you so you can go ahead and join, Kevin, man. It's not too late. It's gonna be hard for you to try to catch me because I'm coming away with the W this year, man. But hey, I'll give you a shot.
Yeah, we'll see.
For sure. All right, Willie Jack. That's the major news, man. The things that have happened over this past week. But now it's time to jump into the games, man. And some of the other things, injuries like that, of course, we'll touch on as we go into the games, man. But let's go ahead and jump into the games, Willie Jack. And the first one we want to talk about is the one that's probably the freshest in your minds, man, in terms of like the Monday night game. Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills going to the New York Jets, man. And the New York Jets come away with this W 22-16. Now, there's a couple things we need to touch on in this one. First and foremost, let's go and knock it out the way. Let's get into the game, and then afterwards, of course, we got to talk about what's even bigger news coming out of this game is the injury to Aaron Rodgers. But first, let's jump into the game, Willie Jack, and talk about what happened, why you felt like the Jets were able to come away with this W.
Honestly, man, like you said, I mean, it's that defense showed itself well. I think is one of the first things I want to say. And then also, man, on the other side, we can't get around from it. Big Josh laid an egg. And so Big Josh laid an egg threw 3 interceptions in the game total, all 3 of them to Jordan Whitehead. So shout out to Jordan Whitehead. He was on the receiving end of all 3 of the interceptions thrown.
Big day for him.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. And then here's the thing as well that's awesome and interesting as well for Jordan Whitehead. So he had recently signed a new contract, and an incentive he had in his contract was he gets a $250,000 signing bonus or bonus pay if he finishes the season with 3 interceptions. So
well, let me get that bread.
Take that off the box. Yeah, he went ahead and took that right out the way. So there's another 250. So it was definitely a very special Monday night for Jordan Whitehead. So congrats to him. But no, man, Josh finishes that night. I've got those numbers: 29 for 41, 236 yards total, 1 passing touchdown, those 3 interceptions. He also had 6 rushes for 36 yards. Lost 2 fumbles in that game as well. One I know for sure when I think he took his eyes off a snap, snapped that back to him, bounced off his chest. He recovered it, tried to run forward and get a couple yards. Got popped and coughed and lost that one. I'm struggling to remember that second one. Good day for Diggs, I guess stat-wise, or decent day for Diggs. 10 catches, 102 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, he did have a key offensive pass interference, I want to say later in that game towards the fourth quarter against Sauce Gardner. And so got caught with a push-off right down the sideline. And I think with that catch, I'm not sure if it was a first down or maybe it was going to make it like 3rd and 2, something like that. And then I think with the penalty, loss of down, I think now it turns into like 4th and 12 or so. It ended whatever that drive was, and it looked like I don't know. It was one of the few drives where they maybe had something looked to be kind of going again. On the other side of that, though, as well, like I said, we're going to get to the big news with Aaron Rodgers, but biggest thing for the Jets in this game is Breece Hall. Breece Hall, fresh off that repaired knee. And he announced himself pretty quickly in this game, man. Breaks off an 83-yard run. I think it was his 2nd carry of the day. So he had like 2 carries for 106 yards or something like that to start this game. Finishes with 10 carries for 127. Did lose a fumble, but huge day for him. Does look like that knee. If we thought he was going to need to take his time and kind of break himself into this season, or maybe they would, he shut that down immediately. So he looks to be back in form. Now he did get caught on that 83-yard run. I don't know if pre-knee injury, maybe he runs off now. That's a 4-3.
Hey, and I saw a couple people.
Run a 4-3.
I saw a couple people mention it, but to me, I felt like he was running fine. I felt like he was rolling. He never was a straight burner. You know what I'm saying?
He has wheels now. He had an 80-yarder last year.
He has wheels, but oftentimes when situations like this, we discredit the guy that's chasing after him. A lot of people don't really look into who's actually chasing the guy.
In the angle that they had, or maybe could have got.
Yeah. So, when I seen him running, the guy, he looked fast to me. He looked like he was running fast to me. He just. The guy running faster than him.
I think he did lose a little steam there toward the end, but man, 83 yards. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and he still had another 15 yards to go before he would have reached the end zone.
And he probably had about 2-3 carries before that one.
That was his second carry for sure. But I think his first carry he popped a big one as well. I think he had like a 15-yard run, and then he had like that 83-yard run like back to back or something like that. But so big day for him. Dalvin Cook making his Jets debut, 13 carries for 33 yards. So relatively quiet day for him. Garrett Wilson, man, this is the one that, and we're gonna fold in. I'm gonna toss it to you. We're gonna fold in the A-Rod for sure. Garrett Wilson, man, I predicted him to be the Offensive Player of the Year, Triple Crown winner. I really had such high hopes for him and A-Ron this season. A-Ron goes down. He does finish this game with 5 catches for 34 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown catch, an awesome catch.
Ridiculous.
Should have been a back shoulder. It was meant to be a back shoulder fade. Zach Wilson off target, throws it front shoulder. He's fighting off the DB with the left arm, reaches across his body with the right arm and right hand, and kind of knocks it, or stops the ball, knocks it, falls down, catches it on his back. It's a touchdown right there in the corner. So excellent catch there. But yeah, man. But of course, like my dog said, man, story of this game is going to be A-Rod, man. I'm going to toss it back to you, man, and let you have the first bite at that apple. Your thoughts on the A-Rod situation?
For sure. Definitely. And just before I jump into the A-Rod situation, I want to echo a lot of what you said, the defense. But for Josh Allen, man, it was one thing that he said, especially in the press conference. I saw it on the field, but then in the press conference, he came back and said, man, some of the same mistakes that he's made in the past, which is concerning for me, because you are one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think a lot of people would agree with that. It's a lot of people out there that feel like he's not as good as people say he is. But games like this and play like this are the reasons why people say that. The reasons why people say he's not that good. He's overrated or whatever the case may be. But for me, Josh Allen, man, these are things you have to grow from. You have to learn, and you have to continue to get better. Learn how to be a good quarterback. It was certain plays where he was missing reads, or he misread, the coverage, or tried to force balls into double coverage, like situations like that, and just it made you kind of question like his understanding of the game from a quarterback's perspective. Understanding, do you understand the players that you got, going for you? Like, don't get me wrong, Stephon Diggs is a hell of a receiver, but he's not a jump ball and double coverage type of receiver. You know what I mean? That's not his game. His game is he's gonna route you up, create separation, and he gonna 15 yards you to death all the way down the field, just by creating separation on his routes. So it was those type of decisions that Josh Allen was making that was real questionable. It was head scratchers, man. And he's the type of quarterback that if he's on, as good as the Jets defense was, it doesn't matter what defense is playing, because if he's on, he's gonna put up points. He don't care what type of defense it is. So that's the type of talent that he has, And of course, I definitely want to see better from him moving forward. And as for the Jets, man, hey, y'all put it together. Good job. Y'all put together that win. Great defensive performance. Like you said, Breece Hall, man. And speaking about Breece Hall, I saw a clear difference in when Breece Hall was running the ball and when Dalvin Cook was running the ball. Like, I saw a clear difference in terms of just the natural power that he runs with, the quickness, and it looked like Dalvin Cook was tiptoeing a little bit. Now, we know he's a good back, but when you look at them both, it looked a little different, man, in terms of when Breece Hall had the ball versus when Dalvin Cook had the ball. But, of course, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Well, the only thing I was going to say about that is also, I don't want us to get it misconstrued. So he finished with 127 yards on 10 carries. Two of those carries were 106 yards. So the remaining night, for him, if we take away those first 2 runs of the night, he's 8 for 21. So it was a tough running night. That's why Dalvin had a relatively he had a rough night rushing as well. But outside of those, the first 2 runs of the night, then Brees Hall's night looks a lot different. It looks more in line with Dalvin's. He just happened to have the 2 plays that pop. Well, namely that one play that ended up popping for him, and it did like it paints a different picture for his production. But even if we leave that first run and just take away the 83, he's 9 for what's that going to be? 9 for 37 yards or something like that. So I think it was all told a stingy Bills run defense on the whole,
Absolutely.
and then like I said, then Brees Hall pops one because I still think that Dalvin still got plenty of tread on his side.
And I'm not knocking Dalvin. I'm just saying it looked different, regardless of the production. Even on the short runs, I feel like they look different. You know what I'm saying, in terms of running the ball, and I feel like it was a difference. Just in watching them. And of course, sometimes games happen that way. The next game it could be Dalvin Cook, the one that looks a little bit different, or it works more in his favor with his running style. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way games are. I'm just saying when I saw them just physically, regardless of production, it looked a little bit different in terms of that. But
no, that's fair. That's fair.
Moving to the biggest news of this game, man. Aaron Rodgers goes down with the torn Achilles, man, out for the season. I know this is terrible, terrible news for the Jets and their community and the fan base and the coaching staff and the owners and everybody else, man. It's been nothing but hype and talk around all season about Aaron Rodgers coming over, the effect of Aaron Rodgers, what's he going to turn his team into, all those different things, for it to go down the drain in the first quarter of the first game that he plays throughout this season, man. It's truly heartbreaking for that particular team, that franchise as of right now. And now it's like, dang, before we even get a chance to really see it, to really get it going and really get a taste of it, it's over. You know what I'm saying? It's over, and he has to miss the entire season. And now we have to wait to see this until the next year, man. We had to wait until next year to see, them put everything together. And then it also, puts you in a position where it's like, all right, what is this team going to look like next year? Who's going to be the players that are going to be in these positions or who are going to be around him? Like, there's a lot of those things that are going to come into play, man. So very sad news in terms of that. Not Rodgers, Willie Jack, what's your thoughts on it, man?
Well, here's the thing I was going to ask you as well, man, because we got to remember, Aaron Rodgers is a 38-year-old man, and he's not, he's a guy that's had and missed some substantial time in his, over the course of his career with some pretty serious injuries here. I think, this may be the first to a lower extremity, but here's the thing about it. Are we sure that Aaron Rodgers, can recover and come back and play again next year at 38 years old, turn that Achilles? And then B, also, does he want to? Because Aaron Rodgers is also a guy who I think I wouldn't say he's a guy that appears like he's going to hang around and play for the love of the game. Aaron Rodgers is going to play. He's going to get paid damn well to do it. And he's a guy that's playing because he expects to be at the top of the league, no matter how old he is. If he's on the field, he expects to be a guy at the top of his league. And so now, what's that road to recovery look like as a 38-year-old Aaron Rodgers now been trying to recover from that Achilles? So Achilles already being such a devastating injury to recover from, and that's for a 26-year-old athlete in their prime, let alone a guy that's already kind of on that back half. He's definitely on that last stretch on the way home, man. And so now he's 38. So can he come back? If he does come back, what's that worth? I mean, this could really be sad to say, and I hope it's not the case, but I did want to get your thoughts on, man. Like, do we see Aaron Rodgers take another professional snap? You're convinced? You think if you had to go, let's say the over under, or what percentages would you give him coming back, or maybe this is it?
I'll say it's a large chance he comes back. I think he's definitely coming back, in my opinion. And the reason why is because for it to end that way, if it's in his control, I think he'll come back. For it to end that way, for him to go to the Jets and not have that opportunity to see what happens, I don't think he wants his career to end that way. So if he's able to recover from this, I think we'll see him in a Jets uniform next year. I think we'll see him. I think he'll come back, and I think he'll be ready to compete. So we'll see. He'll be it's another year out. So But yeah, in my opinion, I think he'll come back.
I got you, and I hope I think for a lot of the reasons you said, nobody wants to. Every athlete's goal, especially the guys who are at the top or have been near the top of this game, I think everybody's goal is to leave on your own terms and not feel like you had the game taken away from you. And so I think for that reason, I think it may be one of those things where the mind is willing. I'm not sure if the body's going to be able. I mean, that's a tough injury to come back from, man. Especially like I said, man, as a 38-year-old man, and and that's what 16, 17 years. This was year 16 or 17 in the league for him. And man, NFL years are dog years. And so, man, that 38-year-old age, man, that's a 50-year-old body on that boy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or it very well could be. And so I'm curious to see how that recovery goes. But oh man, and then last thing I was going to ask you, man, before we get out of this one, the Jets quarterback room. What do they do now? Like, this was the whole setup for this season was Zach Wilson getting to learn from one of the greatest, one of the GOATs, and then maybe revisiting his time as a starter, possibly 2 years down the road or whatever the case. And so now, of course, as we know, well, that's out the window. So now he's the pseudo guy at this time. But there's a couple interesting names out here, Chop. There's a couple interesting names on other rosters. There's a couple interesting names in the free agent pool. But I don't know if you had to give me three options, whether they be free agents or guys on other rosters that realistically could be available. Give me three names you make a call for. So if you're in that Jets front office, what's the first three guys you want to get a hold of and see if something can happen?
So right off the bat, let me say this. As of right now, I don't think they're going to pull the trigger right now. Mm-hmm. I think they truly want to see if Zach Wilson has showed a little bit of maturity, if he can, can show some improvement from last year to this year. I think they want to see a little bit of that first. Once he starts to show that, things may be going downhill, I actually think the first target could possibly be Matthew Stafford, man. Matthew Stafford on a
really?
Matthew
I
Stafford.
did not expect that.
Matthew Stafford on the Los Angeles Rams team that I don't think will continue what they've shown in week one, and we'll start to run into some troubles and get in a position to where, hey, well, I mean, we may have to move on. We may have to move on, or not necessarily move on, but maybe we continue to rebuild with all the things they've done. Mm-hmm. Maybe Matthew Stafford is one of those guys. If we start to see Kyler Murray may be ready towards the middle, and they still are right there in the contention, if Kyler Murray is ready to start, maybe they go get a guy like Kyler Murray. That could be a good one.
That's interesting. Okay.
And then lastly, just looking, man, I'm trying to remember and go through stuff. Maybe one of these rookies that were drafted that's sitting behind, man. Maybe one of the rookies, maybe and I say rookie, maybe a Hendon Hooker. Andy Dalton is a backup. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's that many other options. Maybe that would really be like that you can say are legitly better than what Zach Wilson is now. Maybe a Jarrett Stidham, man. Stidham came in and showed he had a huge game late in the season last year for Las Vegas. I think he threw like 5 touchdowns or something like that, and like 300 or 400 yards. I don't know, man. But to me, I think Matthew Stafford, and if Kyler Murray is ready at some point during the season, maybe they pull the trigger on him because the Cardinals want the first overall pick anyway to go get a QB.
I got you. Now, those names I did not imagine coming out, so I'm glad those are the names you pulled. The only thing I would say about those names is, especially with Matthew Stafford or Kyler, if you bring one of those two in, then you're done with A-Rod. Because I don't think those guys, especially with their contracts, the money that they cost, and what it would take to get those guys, then for one, you're definitely done with A-Rod. You're going to turn that page. And then also, I think you're done with Zach Wilson, because I don't think you keep Zach Wilson, especially let's say if it's a move for Kyler Murray. He's got 3 years left on that deal, and he's already a young guy, so I don't think it's not going to be a situation where Zach Wilson's still there to learn and see if he still has a chance. So I think that means you're pulling the plug there. And then same thing with Stafford, because I think, man, that deal y'all signed with him, he still got some good money left on that deal. So same thing, if you bring in Stafford, then that's it for A-Rod. Now that one could be interesting. Maybe Wilson can. Maybe you do sell Wilson on sitting behind Stafford because okay, well, it's the same plan we had for you. So maybe that one. But that's interesting, man. The names I were thinking. The very first call I would make, and I hope this could somehow work out. Call Indianapolis and see what's up with Gardner Minshew. That's what I want to see happen. That's what I want to see happen. I want to see Gardner Minshew sitting out there with Garrett Wilson on the outside, with Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook behind him, and see what he could do with those weapons, man. I really think that Gardner Minshew is a guy that's shown that he can air it out, man. He can put up numbers. He can definitely spread the ball around, and he can be a viable option as a starter. And so I think Gardner Minshew for me is very interesting. I think Andy Dalton is another guy worth a call. Now I'm not a huge on the viability of Andy realistically, but if you need an established veteran, somebody to be in that room, your quarterback room right now is Zach Wilson and X, whoever, you know what I mean? So you just want some style of established veteran presence, somebody who can, if he's got to show up and play tomorrow, I mean, he can be calm and composed because he's been through the fire. So I think Andy Dalton is a good name as well. And then I guess last for me, realistically, I don't see them doing it, or I don't see this one happening. But man, I don't know, man. Jameis is still sitting down there, man. Jameis is sitting down there in New Orleans behind Derek Carr. Now the only thing is, I mean, he's just as much a wild card as Zach Wilson. But I mean, hey, man, if we've got to get somebody in there who may be available, who may be able to be moved as well, then I think that maybe Jameis would be a guy. But like I said, at that point, how much of an upgrade on Zach Wilson is that truly? I do think it is a small upgrade, but he still has a lot of the same issues with ball security and decision making that you're going to see with Zach Wilson. So, but those would be the three names that came to mind for me.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's the only time to tell, man. We'll see what these Jets turn into and see what they elect to do moving forward to help push that season along and keep this. I can't call it a streak yet, but man, keep the wins falling in, man. Keep the wins coming into the door. Yeah, but moving on, Willie Jack, let's go into some of the other games, man. The first game on the docket, man, we had a divisional matchup, man. We had Carolina going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Falcons come away with this win at home, 24-10. So here's the thing for me, man. I found both of these teams very interesting for a reason. Of course, you want to see the rookie. How does the rookie look in his first official game? You know what I'm saying? How does he look? And in my opinion, man, he looked like a rookie in certain instances, but he showed promise, man. I think that Bryce Young, what I saw from him, I think was very impressive, in his first game. And the reason why, as I say, because of the mistakes that he made, I think will be correctable for him. They weren't mistakes like just absolutely foolish mistakes. There were things that you learn just over time as being an NFL QB, So I saw some of those things, but just his poise, his ability to stay calm. He still shows a little bit of pocket awareness. That offensive line is still just terrible, man. Atlanta was getting after him a lot, man. They put a lot of pressure on him. He was sacked only a couple times, but it was 7 QB hits, on him throughout this game, man, which just tells me that he was under a lot of pressure. And the other thing I wanted to see was, of course, I wanted to see what did Desmond Ridder look like and Bijan Robinson. Okay, we knew that this team had a lot of pieces around it on offense and defense, but it was just more so, all right, Desmond Ridder, can you put it all together? Can you bring this all together and make it look sweet? You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately for the Falcons, Desmond Ridder didn't look too hot, man. He didn't look like like he could be one of the better QBs. Now it was a solid defense he was going against, but he didn't like one of the better QBs. All in all, man, I like what I saw from Bijan. As advertised, you saw the talent jump off the screen. They did use Tyler Algier a lot, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of those pieces kind of, showed themselves and showed that, hey, this is a strong team. Great offensive line. They kept running behind the offensive line. A couple of the pieces that they added showed up on defense, and Jesse Bates and, a couple of those other guys. But ultimately, man, good win for the Atlanta Falcons, and they start their season off strong.
Got you. And I'm in the chat real quick, getting busy. Talking to
Mhm.
our dog, man, for real deal STL Sports, man. Our dog Kevin Wilkinson, man. He threw a name. He said, "Hear him out." I'm sorry to double back on this real quick, but he said, "Here." It was a strange enough name that I got to read it for you. Say, "Hear him out, man. If they do give up on that, Zach, he's saying, try to make some style of move for Dak." And I was telling like man, Dak Prescott from the Cowboys. I was like, man, I just can't see a way that that's gonna be viable. The Cowboys consider themselves a Super Bowl contender, especially starting this season off 40-0. I mean, they're definitely if you anybody in that locker room and anybody in that organization is thinking Super Bowl to bust style of year. And so if that's the case, which I think it is, I just don't see the incentive for them to move off of Dak. Like I said, when they have such a good chance in their own minds this year. So yeah, I can't see it, man. Especially there's nobody behind them but Trey Young or Trey Lance. And so they're not going to move Dak and then pull Trey Lance up. But getting into this Atlanta game with Carolina, this game unfolded kind of much like I expected to see. So some of the things I talked about Sunday were I think it's going to be too much heavy lifting for Bryce Young. He attempts 38 passes in his first game as a rookie. He's 20 for 38, less than 150 yards. Those 146 yards, one touchdown. Does throw his first touchdown to Hayden Hurst, who promptly throws the touchdown ball into the audience. But then I think he had posted on social media that they were able to get that ball back so that Bryce can get that ball. But 2 interceptions. He also lost a fumble. So 1 touchdown, 3 turnover day. So rough outing for him. And then on the other side of it, much kind of like I said from Atlanta, it was exactly what I expected to see as well. Ritter's not going to have to do much. I mean, he wasn't spectacular at all. He finishes 15 for 18, 115 yards. He does throw a touchdown. And honestly, these are the same style of numbers that we saw last year are similar enough to Marcus Mariota. And sadly enough, these numbers are a little better than what we got from Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota's line might have been 6 for 18, 82 yards, and then that same touchdown and no interception. But not at all looking for the quarterback to do much of the heavy lifting, and instead relying on a very underrated defense. I think that defense definitely showed itself well. Now, mind you, they're playing the rookie, but Jesse Bates, free agent safety, they bring over from Cincinnati. He has 2 interceptions in this game. He's introducing himself to Atlanta, so you get a big day there. I thought that Bijan was going to be more the driving force of the offense right out the box, but it looks like they're instead, taking their time. So Tyler Algier was the leading rusher for this game at 15 rushes, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Bijan did make an appearance and showed himself well. 10 carries, 56 yards. He had 6 catches for 27 yards, and he had a highlight style touchdown reception. Caught a little dump off in the right flat, broke 3 boys off, got in his zone, and so did show himself very well as well. So, but yeah, that's definitely going to be their formula. More of what they kind of did last year, and then they're hoping to see if they can get Desmond Ridder to develop and do something to keep defenses honest in that pass game. But yeah, for opening week 1, this game kind of unfolded the way I imagined it when I was looking at it.
Cool. On to the next one, Willie Jack. We had Cincinnati. Now, this one probably unfolded in a way when I don't think nobody expected this one, man. But Cincinnati, they takes that L on the road, man. They lose 24-3. Now, going into this game, I don't think anybody expected the Cincinnati Bengals to just score 3 points, but it was sloppy, man. Willie Jack, what was your take on this one?
Man, this was ugly AFC North football. And this one made me upset. We talked about this game. When I talked about this game with Chop on Sunday, on Chop Willie in the morning, Sundays at 10, tap in, you know what I'm saying? One of the things I talked about is how Cleveland always plays the Bengals very well. In fact, I think they're 6-1 the last 7-8 meetings. Maybe they're under 7-1 with the last 8 meetings. And also talked about how Joe Burrow in his Bengals, they do tend to kind of start a little slow as well before they kind of find their groove. And that's exactly what we saw here. Now, Cleveland also, that defense came to play, and especially that secondary. So that secondary was lights out. They look damn good. What's that? Joe Burrow finishes his day 14 for 31 with 82 total passing yards. That is still, even looking at that again, I'm like, God dang, that's what happened. You spent $275 million on a man on Thursday, and Sunday he gets you 14 for 31 and 82 yards. Now, Joe, you know I love you, Joe. But still, man, we let the field speak right here, baby. I gotta give it to you how it came, man. And that's what it was, man. So $275 million, you got some explaining to do. Now, here's the thing as well, man. Talking about that Brown secondary, Jamar Chase, 5 catches, 39 yards. T. Higgins, shutout, 8 targets, no receptions. And I think Tyler Boyd had 2 catches for like 15, 16 yards on the day. And so, phenomenal job by that Browns defense. Myles Garrett gets himself a sack in the fourth quarter of that game as well. So he announces himself. And then on the other side, Cleveland, to their credit, man, they won behind their horse, man. They won behind their guy, Nick Chubb. He's just he's just. I mean, me and Chop say this so many times, man. We sing Nick Chubb's praises. You need to turn around and hand the ball to somebody. It gets no better than Nick Chubb. You just want to turn around and say, "Hey, big dog, it's 8 in this box. I need you to give me 6 yards." You don't want nobody else besides Nick Chubb, or at least in my mind, me and Chop's mind, I think I feel comfortable saying that. I'm handing that ball to Nick Chubb. You tell me it's 9 guys in the box and I need 4 yards. Nick good for 4.5. Nick got it. 18 for 106. And a good thing about those runs is more than a few of those runs came at very critical downs. Ugly handoffs, still finding a way to fall forward and make something happen. Getting 4 yards where he should have lost 1. Getting 6 yards where it should have been 2. I think he had like a 12 or 13-yard run on a big conversion, extended drive as well up the left sideline. I want to say a good 12, 13-yard run. I feel like he broke 2 tackles on that run as well. And so really doing what he has to do to kind of be the engine in this Cleveland team. For Deshaun, it was nothing to write home about for Deshaun. 16 for 29, 154 in the air, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 5 carries, 45 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. Also lost a fumble there as well. But yeah, all told, man, just a very stifling day for that Cleveland Brown defense in regards to how they performed against those Bengals. And like I said, man, just an ugly day at the office for Cincinnati. And so Cleveland definitely jumps out and continues their trend of dominating that Bengals team.
Absolutely. But you know what? Honestly, Willie Jack, this is what I call a throwaway game. Okay. You might go into week 2, and I actually expect to go into week 2 and see, I ain't gonna say 2 totally different teams, because I think this game just played more into Cleveland's hands. It was a sloppy weather game, which I think had a little bit to do with it. But hey, both teams played on the same field, so ain't no excuses. I'm not saying that, but it played into their hands. In games like this, you have to be able to be physical up front and run the ball. Cleveland ran the ball 40 times. The Cincinnati Bengals ran the ball 20 times. Now, that tells you something right there. That tells you who was trying to be the more physical team. Instead, Cincinnati Bengals were still trying to go out there and air it out like it wasn't, a whole thunderstorm going on in the middle of the game. You know what I mean? And that's why you get performances like 8 targets and 0 catches from a guy like T. Higgins. You know what I'm saying? You get this entire performance where you go out here and try to play this finesse game, when in reality, you need to play physical in order to win these type of games, man. So I think that's what this is for me, a throwaway game. I don't expect this to be one of those type of – I don't expect Cincinnati to be this team going forward throughout the season. We'll see what Cleveland is. They weren't super impressive to me. Of course, they did what they always do on the ground and up front, which were actually up front on defense. They look really good. But up front on offense, they do what they always do. Deshaun Watson, he threw a couple dirt balls and threw some a silly interception, and I think that was weather related. But all in all, man, I just ultimately look at this game as like, all right, this is more so a throwaway game, because this is not the identity that we're going to see from the Cincinnati Bengals team. So whoever they got next week, they shouldn't expect them to come out and lay egg like this. They should expect a much better performance, from this Cincinnati Bengals team, and even Cleveland too. I expect them to play a little bit better next week too. But ultimately, Cleveland came away with this W as the more physical team. So they come with it, man. They are 1-1-0.
Yeah, and before we move on from this one as well, man, injury updates in this game. Starting right tackle from the Browns, Jake Conklin. I think it's a knee, it feels like there was a couple Achilles that happened over this first weekend. I'm not sure. I don't think his is Achilles. I think he tore an ACL. I believe Jack Conklin was an ACL, but he's on IR. He's going to require surgery, so he's out for the rest of this year. And then on the other side, Cincinnati Bengals, they announced that last year's one of the, I guess, premium free agent targets that they went and acquired either last year or the year before now, Lael Collins, he tore his knee up, did not show himself well before the injury. They have announced that they are going ahead and releasing him from the PUP list. So he was on the PUP list to start this year. He's actually been cut or released now. I'm not sure where his injury is, if he's still recovering or if he's recovered now. But rather than being brought back to the active roster, they just decided to move on. We do know they already brought over Orlando Brown this offseason and moved that line around. So just another want to make mention of that as well.
Gotcha. All right, Willie Jack, keeping it pushing, man. Keeping it pushing. We had Jacksonville. They went to Indianapolis, man, to take on the Colts, and Jacksonville comes away with this W 31-21 in a big road victory. And might I say, man, let me go ahead and get this party started, man, with my guy who I voted on as the comeback player of the year in Calvin Ridley, man. Calvin Ridley showed up like he never left, man. 8 for 101 and a touchdown, man. And he almost had another one if he didn't accidentally step out of bounds, man. The guy looked terrific. He looked fast. He looked explosive. His routes are crispy. It looked like him and Trevor Lawrence have been working all offseason on their connection. And I'm loving what I'm seeing there. But a very, very competitive game, man. Multiple, and this is from a defensive point of view too, man. Multiple third and fourth down stops, on third and fourth and shorts, man. These defenses showed up, man. And one guy I want to point out is that Colts defense in DeForest Buckner, man. DeForest Buckner was a monster in this particular game, continuing to make play after play after play in the backfield, especially in those short yardage situations, man. Showing up and showing, hey, and Indianapolis Colts reminding us that, hey, man, our defense wasn't a pushover, and we're still not a pushover. So I don't think you're just going to come in our house and just run the score up on us just because you Trevor Lawrence and you the Jaguars and you Doug Peterson and y'all got all these fancy cars and these weapons outside. Nah, it ain't going on. It ain't going down like that. We still who we are. We still got DeForest Buckner. Quiddy Payers in his second year. He's stepping up and showing to be more of a force up front. Still got Shaq right behind us coming in to make all these tackles. You know what I'm saying? So the maniac, as we like to call him, but we still got a lot of these guys. So you're going to have to respect us. And they did. And this game was close, very, very close up until the fourth quarter, man. And with Anthony Richardson, he also, showed some things that were very, very impressive. Very impressive, with his running style. He made some good throws, but he also made some tough throws, some rough throws, and some throws off target, including the crucial interception that he threw in the fourth quarter, which pretty much sealed the deal. And the Jaguars go down, they put up points, and they close this game out, man. But all in all, man, good win for the Jacksonville Jaguars to start their season off on the road. I do like what I see from Anthony Richardson as a starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. And it looks like that, as long as he continues to improve and grow, this Indianapolis Colts team will be all right.
And I second a lot of things you said, and then especially like we were saying, man, this game was the Colts came out there and made this fight for 3/4 of this game before Jacksonville was able to separate themselves. Like I said, man, as we get into the back end of this game for sure. Talking about the performance of Anthony Richardson, 24 for 37, 223 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 10 rushes for 40 yards. Also had a rushing touchdown as well. And so, kind of to start the season, this is exactly how I expected Anthony Richardson's season to go. Like, this is exactly what I expect. And so this is one of the things where I wasn't shy about starting him because I expect to see exactly how he looked. So he, in my mind, we're right on track or right on target with how I expect him to look. And now I want to see how he looks going forward. Like I said, maybe in 3 weeks, I don't want to see him make that costly interception. I want him to make a better decision at that point and give us a chance to still stay in that game or maybe put us in a position to win that game. Now, here's the thing that's interesting for me. So we all know about the drama with the Colts and Jonathan Taylor. He's on the PUP list, and he's not going to be active or eligible until week 5. Anthony Richardson is the leading rusher in this game with 10 carries for 40 yards and a touchdown. The rest of the running backs, the running back room, the remaining running backs combined for 16 rushes for 25 total yards, and they lost 2 fumbles. So you got Jonathan Taylor.
Pay that man.
Pay that man, which is arguably a top 5 running back in this league, or what I mean, there's some older established names or whatever, but he's a guy that an argument could be made that, assuming he's healthy and playing, he's a top 5 guy or a guy that's going to compete for that style of level of player. 16 for 25 with 2 fumbles lost. from every other running back who touched the ball that game, and then your quarterback leads the, like I said, your quarterback's the leading rusher, 10 for 40 and 1 touchdown in this offensive scheme. I mean, it's just so it definitely showed itself, and it definitely should go a lot to show his worth. So I am going to be keeping an eye myself. I'm going to be keeping an eye on what that team does to find an answer for their running back room. There's still guys available now. Kareem Hunt still ain't wearing nobody's jersey. You know what I mean? And it's been a while since we've seen him look like the Kareem Hunt that we remember from Kansas City, or even the Kareem Hunt that we remember from his early Cleveland days.
But he's better than what they showed.
He's better than whatever they get.
Leonard Fournette ain't wearing no jersey. Leonard Fournette ain't wearing no jersey.
Leonard Fournette isn't wearing a jersey. You know what I'm saying? So there's still some guys out there. I'm curious to see if they make a move, because just like Chop said, Jacksonville's expected to be a team this year. Jacksonville's expected to be a team on the rise, and a team that is going to get into the dance and make somebody uncomfortable. And so to see this Colts team, which realistically didn't have much in the way of high expectations, to see them compete for as long as they did, and then be, kind of fall apart at the end because, well, you had to put all your eggs in a developmental rookie athletic quarterback prospect at the end. So now what if we balance this game out with Jonathan Taylor? What's Jonathan Taylor look like with 24 carries in this game? That's what I want to know. Do we win that game now? Do we start off and steal that from Jacksonville? You know what I mean? And so that's the thing that's what makes me think about. Kudos to my dog as well. Shouting out to Forrest Buckner, man. He was definitely an animal in that game as well. On the other side, Trevor Lawrence and the boys. Trevor Lawrence, 24 for 32, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 fumble loss. Travis Etienne had a good day, 18 for 77 and a touchdown. I wanted to shout him out because he had a highlight block that sprung a long catch and run from, was that Zay Jones's touchdown up the right sideline?
Zay Jones caught his touchdown in the end zone.
Oh, no, he had that amazing catch in the end zone. So was it the Calvin Ridley? It must have been the Calvin Ridley touchdown.
But the Calvin Ridley touchdown, but that was probably the one they called back though, because Calvin Ridley stepped out of bounds on that one. He didn't get that touchdown.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the one. Okay, yeah, where Travis Etienne sprints and makes up probably 30 yards and throws a very key block that looked like, okay, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, should have been a touchdown, but that's an excellent hustle play, man. I like shouting out plays or guys like that because honestly, man, that's one of those plays where it seems simple or it seems easy, but every player doesn't have that. Every player isn't the type of guy to chase and follow a play 60 yards away from you when you don't have the ball to see if you can help a pitch in, man. So definitely want to kudos him. Calvin Ridley looked phenomenal, like my dog said. Shout out on that defensive side. Josh Allen, the other Josh Allen, the edge rusher from Jacksonville, had a big day, 3 sacks. And then Trayvon Walker, number 1 pick from last year, he had a sack in this game as well. So wanted to shout those boys out. And then the only last thing I want to say about this is, what happened to Christian Kirk? Where happened to Christian Kirk? Zay Jones, Calvin Ridley coming in, we knew that he was going to be the number 1 option. I didn't imagine that Zay Jones was going to supplant Christian Kirk as the number 2 guy. And now Christian Kirk kind of left in the weeds there.
So here's my opinion on that. I don't think he's left in the weeds. I just think that's the game plan. The Jaguars have enough weapons to where this game it might be this person that get off, but the next game it might be the next. You know what I'm saying? So this particular game, it was Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones, even Evan Ingram got a couple passes. So they got a lot of weapons out there. So every game might not be his game. I mean, and let's not forget, he's not as much as he got paid, and of course, as much as he is a solid receiver, and he's going to be a great, role player in this offense. He's not the guy. So now you have, in my opinion, you have the guy on your offense in terms of, all right, this is your number 1 option right here for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Everybody else behind that, get in where you fit in, but y'all are talented though. Y'all are really talented, but get in where you fit in. And I view it, they don't have, I don't think the caliber of offense that you would say, well, I don't know, we'll see. But it's kind of like the San Francisco 49ers, man. This game, it might be Debo. This game, it might be next game, it might be Ayuk. It might be Kittle. It might be any of these guys. You know what I'm saying? But my guy is Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey going to touch it however many times every game. You know what I'm saying? Regardless. Mm-hmm. So I think it's kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? In that sense, really is going to touch the ball. ETN is going to touch the ball. Between Ingram, Kirk, and Zay Jones, who's got the best?
Kind of find they play. Okay, no, that's good. I like that. That's a good answer.
So I don't route, especially you fantasy owners, because he only had 1 catch, I believe. If you're trying to get rid of Christian Kirk, I don't think you should, man. Just wait it out. Be patient. I know this week 1. I know you're anxious. I know you probably took that L week 1, but it's all right. It's all right. All right.
No, I tell y'all what, don't listen to Chop. If you ain't one of the leagues I'm in, go ahead and cut him, man. I don't know if he got it. Something might be off with him, man. I don't. You go ahead and let him go, man.
He might be off. He might be off.
He
Well,
might
if
be a
that's the
little
case,
off.
if that's the case, I don't think Calvin really gonna have another game like that. Y'all, so go ahead and drop him. Holla, drop him if you want.
Yeah, go ahead and let him go, man. It
Right,
was
for
flash
sure.
opinion.
For sure. On to the next one, Willie Jack. We had Tampa Bay. They went to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. They win this game on the road, 20-17. Willie Jack, tell me your take on this one, man.
Man, Big Bake is back, baby. Big Bake is
Here we
back.
go. Here we
Big Bake
go.
is back. And you know what, man? Shout out to where's our dog, man? Where's Isaiah at? Isaiah Holmes, where you at, big dog? Because Isaiah was up kicking it with your dogs with Chop Willie in the morning. He was definitely on fire, man. He was a Game Ball Award winner, man. Y'all might not know about that. We'll let y'all know. Show up on Sunday, man. It's some tricks of the trade over there. Isaiah, when we got to this Tampa Bay, Minnesota game, got in the chat throwing fire bombs everywhere. He said this game will be the start of Baker Mayfield's comeback and his eventual comeback of the Player Year Award winning performance. And Baker comes out on the road against Minnesota, a playoff team last year, a team with a top 10 level offense, I think we'd all be comfortable to say. 21 for 34, 173, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Now, it's not that stat line doesn't blow anybody away. But the thing for me is, in a game on the road, I don't think any of us would have expected this, would say that Tampa Bay is as talented a roster as Minnesota, especially offensively. But the big thing for me is, what's that? 21 for 34 is going to be right around 65% completion percentage, which is where I want to see quality quarterbacks live in that area. And two touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles. So no turnovers on the day. And like I said, man, was able to do enough, do his part, and do his part in that victory. Mike Evans, 6 for 66 and a touchdown. Chris Godwin, 5 for 51. And so I was curious to see how he looked with those two guys. Two names that have lost a lot of steam. 2 years ago, that was arguably the most dynamic duo in the league. You know what I mean? Or they were in that type of conversation. And then, like I said, in these last few years, man, it feels like we've kind of forgotten about those guys. But he's got quality weapons there on the outside. And if he can still get those guys the ball in a way without turning the ball over, then like I said, man, maybe this Tampa team, like I said, them beating that Minnesota team, a talented Minnesota team and a talented Minnesota offense, Tampa Bay's got a chance. I don't know how far they're going. I don't want to overreact, but they're definitely going to be maybe a lot more competitive than maybe we gave them credit for. On the other side, Kirk Cousins, 33 for 44, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 2 fumbles lost. Justin Jefferson, 9 for 150, no touchdowns in this game. And Jordan Addison, rookie receiver. I was curious. I wanted to see what he looks like on the other side of Justin Jefferson. And he didn't disappoint, or at least early, 4 for 61. He gets an early touchdown on a nice post route. Nice ball, nice read from Kirk Cousins. Here's the thing for me. Justin Jefferson had 138 yards in this game at halftime. He finishes this game with 150 yards. They didn't start guarding Justin Jefferson. That's not what it was. I don't know what was going on. I'm putting that on Kirk. I'm not putting that on Jettas. I think I don't know what it was with Kirk there. I don't like how he looked in the second half of that game, especially down the stretch as well. But all told, like I said, Minnesota at home losing a game that I know everybody says every given Sunday, etc. This is one you probably counted to be in the books. Tampa Bay, a floundering team. They're struggling to rebuild. You bring over Baker Mayfield. He's got a quarterback competition with Kyle Trask that lasts the full preseason. This isn't a game you lose. And to drop this game definitely spells trouble for these Vikings for me, at least in the early going. I don't want to overreact, but this is one that I can't imagine that they saw themselves losing or letting slip by, and they definitely left one out there. But kudos to the Buccaneers and kudos to Baker, man, for going out there getting it done.
All right, Willie Jack. The thing for me is the one thing you can count on with the Minnesota Vikings in terms of Kirk Cousins is consistent inconsistency. Okay, you can count on.
Well, you've been talking to Mike Tomlin.
Hey,
that
man,
sounds like something Mike would have said.
Consistent inconsistency, man. They can't get out their own way, man. And you talked about it, Willie Jack, was the early fumble, the interception right before halftime as they get ready to try to put up some points. Those are crucial moments in the game, man. And to me, that's what Kirk Cousins has been doing throughout his entire career. He'll have these numbers. He's gonna throw for a lot of yards. He's gonna put up the numbers and all those things. But are you gonna eliminate those crucial mistakes that's going to cost you games. You know what I mean? Now, the one thing that is consistent, and consistently good is, like you said, the cousins to Jefferson. He's always going to be able to find that. And with the former coordinator of the offensive Rams, man, being the head coach, he can always scheme him open. He's always going to be open. You can forget about that. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be hard to guard him unless you Jair Alexander. You know what I mean? That's a different story.
Hey.
And it's a new year too, so I ain't gonna keep blind. I ain't gonna keep.
Alexander's a dog. Well, I got love for Jair. He went out there, did his thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. But in most cases, man, Justin Jefferson is gonna be open. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be open. They're gonna scheme him. They're gonna figure out different ways to get him open. So you're gonna find that it's just the inconsistencies with that offense. And who knows what the defense was going to look like going into this season, either losing pieces after their defense was already probably the worst in the league. But as far as the Bucs, man, like you mentioned, Willie Jack, they still got a lot of talent around this team, offense and defense. One of the better defensive lines, a couple good linebackers, some good DBs. On offense, they got good weapons, a good offensive line. Like they got a lot of.
The line was worrisome for me, but yeah. Well, going into the year, they were a little worried. Yeah, replace one of the tackles and moving Tristan Wirfs and
absolutely. But what I'm saying is they have a lot around Baker Mayfield. You know what I'm saying? So in this game, essentially, Baker Mayfield just had to play clean, and he did. He played clean. That's something that we haven't seen a lot of from Baker Mayfield. But him being able to play clean and this Bucs defense bottling up their run, their run offense for the Minnesota Vikings, they played a huge role in them coming away with this W, man. And by them able to do that, they slowed them down, and they did what they need to do, and they closed the game out. And Chris Godwin, even though you look at those numbers, you know what I'm saying, for him and Mike Evans, they didn't have a ton of yards, but that crucial third down, that what was a 10-yard, 8-yard out route from Chris Godwin, he caught on the sideline. That sealed the deal, man. Mm-hmm. That's just a big of a catch as a touchdown in the first, second, third quarter. You know what I'm saying? Being able to get open when the time is when you're in the fourth quarter, when the game is on the line.
You gotta have it. I got you.
When you gotta have it, that's a big catch, man. And he was able to do that and come. That's why they came away with the W, man. Ran that clock out and they did their thing. So kudos to Tampa Bay, man. Tampa Bay come away with the W. On to the next one, Willie Jack. We had Tennessee, man. Tennessee go to New Orleans, man. Another team that's in the NFC in the division with Tampa Bay, man. And New Orleans comes away with the W, man. 16-15, man. 16-15. And I'll start this one off. First off, I think this was great defense by both teams when I watched this game. Just all the way around, both QBs were combined 7 sacks in this game, 4 by one, 3 by the other team, 4 total interceptions through in this game, 3 of them now by Ryan Tannehill. Terrible performance by Ryan Tannehill. Mm-hmm. And the first touchdown wasn't scored in this game until the end of the third quarter. And that happened to be the only touchdown in this game. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't, like I said, it wasn't scored until the end of the third quarter. So these teams are going into the physical game. But New Orleans had less mistakes with the ball, man. They regardless of what they were going through with on their offense in terms of facing this Tennessee team, they had less mistakes with the ball. Now, we can go back to a specific play in this particular game that was very questionable where Derek Carr got hit, when his arm going back, and they called it an incomplete pass. Yeah. When I think it should have been called a fumble, but that's the way of the game, man. You can't, in my opinion, you can't go to one specific play, and just say this was it. Because Ryan Tannehill,
it felt like a little home cooking. We was in New Orleans, and it felt like a little home cooking.
Felt like a little home cooking, but at the end of the day, man, it was Ryan Tannehill still threw 3 interceptions. They still, turned the ball over. Like there were still so many other mistakes that this Tennessee team made, and to just say that one particular play cost them the game. That's a little bit too far, and you lost by 1 point. You know what I'm saying? So that was the thing. Close at the end. But like I said, New Orleans had less mistakes with the ball. Now, I'm going to leave y'all with this. Rashid Shaheed. I'm going to leave y'all with this. Look out for him, man. Look out for him. And if y'all don't know, if y'all don't pay attention to your boy Chop, if your boy Chop throw a name out there, man, y'all better start listening, man. I've been throwing names out for years, man. You guys better start watching, man. I'm talking about this guy is a dangerous weapon, man. Dangerous weapon. He played receiver, 5 for 89 in the touchdown in this particular game. He had 2 carries in this game. He's a kick returner and punt returner. So you got to know if they want the ball in his hands in all these different ways, the guy is a playmaker, man, and it showed. He almost had another touchdown. He was butt naked down the left sideline, but he caught the ball and fell out of bounds. It could have been another easy touchdown. So look out for Rashid Shaheed, man, as this season goes along. Michael Thomas also looked good. Chris Olave all look good. Hey, man, this New Orleans team, that defense continues to play well. They get Alvin Kamara back, man. They might be cooking, man. They might be cooking.
You know, and just like my dog Chop said, I think I agree with most everything he said as well. I'll give some of those numbers of the players he's talking about. Derek Carr goes 23 for 33 for 305 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Olave, solid day, 8 catches, 112 yards. Michael Thomas, 5 for 61. And then on the other side, Tannehill, very ugly day at the office, 16 for 34, 198 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And when I look at that, it looked to me, now for one, the Saints defense was very stout, which is no surprise to anyone. So that's a strong defense. I think when I think in the show where we did our season predictions, I think we both had them winning the South. But one of the things I talked about was that defense. They've got high level, all pro style of guys at every level of that defense. Cam Jordan, Demario Davis in the middle, Tyrann Mathieu, and Marshawn Lattimore on the back end. So that defense is loaded. Marshawn Lattimore had an interception in this game. Derek Carr throws one up in double. Well, you know, in fairness, I think Marshawn Lattimore peeled off his coverage, and because I don't think they were high low on D Hop, but he undercuts a high point pass for D Hop and comes down with that interception. I can't remember the coverage now. I don't know if they were intentionally high low on him or if Marshawn Lattimore came off his coverage and peeled off and went and got that. But it definitely looked like Tannehill was determined to try to get the ball to D Hop, and so and I guess we'll see if they can improve on that connection as the season goes forward. And then as far as Derrick Henry goes, 15 for 63, and then D Hop, like we were talking, finishes 7 catches for 65 yards in his debut. So yeah, that's fine, Chop. Yeah, that's cool. And so rough day there for both, or rough day for that offense. But another thing I want to say, last thing I'm gonna say about this is, much like I just told y'all. Now, when I told y'all Mike Vrabel, the top 5 coach in his league, this is exactly the type of game I'm saying. When we look at these Tennessee Titans, and especially looking at where we expect the Saints to be, I think going into the season, I predicted the Saints to be the number 2. I think I had them as the number 2 seed in the NFC. Like, I think they're, with their schedule, the way it falls out, that division soft, I think this is a team that's going to be upwards of 12 wins. I think they're going to be somewhere 12, 13 wins. And so I think they're going to have a very good season. And then on the other side of that, Tennessee's a team that's going to try to struggle to keep their nose above 500. But Mike Vrabel goes on the road to New Orleans. One of the things I talked about Sunday morning was New Orleans is one of the top 3 most difficult stadiums to play in my opinion. Mike Vrabel, with a team struggling for talent, goes in and it is an absolute dogfight. His quarterback throws 3 interceptions. They lose by 1 point on a team that's that I would still think that people are going to say that are going to make a pretty decent run here in the regular season in that NFC. So shout out to Mike Vrabel, man, and like I said, tough, hard fought game for that Tennessee Titans team. Assuming Tannehill cleans up, assuming him and D Hop smooth out their connection, assuming Derrick Henry doesn't get held to 63 yards on just 15 carries, I think this Tennessee team is still going to be the consistently hard out that we always know and love.
Perfect. All right, Willie Jack. Well, look, man, we're just about halfway through, man. We a little bit past 8, man, but we gotta take a little bit of a break. We're gonna take a little bit of a break. We're gonna come right back and we're gonna finish off the rest of these games. But of course, don't forget, man, we also got the Thursday night preview, man. So we're gonna do that all that when we come back, man. But here's a message from my dog, Willie Jack.
Today's episode of Let the Film Speak, hosted by the wonderfully handsome and intelligent brothers of Let the Film Speak. That's Chop and your main man, Willie Jack. Yeah, feel me. Also brought to you by the 3 amigos. Y'all know them and you love them, man. That's the 3 amigos. That's like, that's share, that's subscribe. That's 3 the hard way. That's a 3-piece spicy. You cannot go wrong. Now, I say the same thing every week, so y'all can say it at home with me. I know y'all ready for it. Here we go. It's 3 amigos, but it's 4 parts to this process, big dog. First, you just got to tap in. Like my dog said, man, come in, tap in. Just say what's up, man. Just holler. Hey, what's up, Three Amigos, man? Like, share, subscribe. Hey, Chop, man, Willie, man, what's going on, man? It's cool. I sit on the couch for sure. Y'all got some cold to drink? Oh man, my man. Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, man, I'm a Broncos fan. That's all you got to do. That's it. That's easy. And Chop, come in, sit down, get comfortable, get a cool adult beverage, and let us know who you ride with, big dog. Then tell a friend. Like, man, it's a nice meal in here, ain't it? Man, it's cool, man. My homeboy was out. He was down. Man, it's cool. I can tell a friend. Tell a friend, man. And you know what? Even better than that, you can tell your friend to tell a friend. Guess what? There's more. You can tell your friend to bring his partner too. Bring one more because we need four, man. Bring them up into the penthouse. Tapping with your dogs, man. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. You know we don't wear no watches. We ain't got nowhere else to be but in here kicking football flavor with the fam. And now back to the regularly scheduled program. All right.
All right, Willie Jack. That's time for the second half, man. We about to run through the rest of these games. You know what I'm saying? And now I want to go to what my dog Willie Jack called as the game of the week for him, man. He had the San Francisco 49ers going to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers, man. The San Francisco 49ers actually came away with an easy W here, man. Or what it felt like an easy. It probably wasn't easy for them on the field, honestly. But they came away with a pretty convincing W in this game, and they letting everybody know, man, we back. They back. Final score 30-7. Willie Jack, you want me to let you go first, man?
Yeah, man.
I'll this one down.
I appreciate you trying to be nice, man. It was an easy W. It is what it is, man. Hey, it was an easy W, man. They showed up and had their last preseason game. They ready to start their regular season next week, man. It is what it is, man. I got to take that on the chin. Big day for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, they made a believer out of me. I was not one to buy into all the Brock Purdy hype. I was like, man, he got to show me, man. I want to see it now. Is it lightning in the bottle? Is it whatever it is? I'm dead and all that right now. He came in my house. He sat on my couch. He turned on my TV. He drunk my last peach vest, bro. You know what I'm saying? He ate the last of my chips. I walked in. He had the bag tipped up, eating the crumbs out my chip bag on my couch, watching my TV. So, hey, I got to give him respect. He did what he had to do, man. 19 for 29, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 2 fumbles lost. Man, C-Mac, I'm tired of entertaining it. I'm tired of playing with y'all boys, man. All right? Best in the business, man. Best in the business. 22 for 152, 1 touchdown, broke a 65-yard run. I mean, it's just, man, the combination of vision, the combination of agility. He's got good long speed. He's got explosiveness. He can catch. He runs. I mean, there's just, when it comes to C-Mac, man, when it comes to running back position, there's nobody that does more things better. You know what I mean? He's the most complete back in this league. Is a 5'10", 205-pound white boy that plays in the Bay Area, San Francisco. Name is C-Mac. You can call him BITB. That's the best in the business. So he did his thing. And also, man, Brandon Ayuk's the number 1 receiver on this team. And honestly, we could probably say, I think last year, especially towards the second half of that year, where he really, it seemed to be that he's definitely the number 1. He's the number 1, I think, receiving option in that offense. And I say that because I think Debo is the number 1. Let's say, well, no, I don't even think he's the number 1. C-Mac's the number 1 weapon on that team now. But Debo now, he is more so relegated to I don't want to say gadget plays, but he is more relegated to like the off script or off brand style of plays, kind of trick plays or misdirections and things like that. But when we're talking just quality, line up at X, go get a bucket, play receiver, Brandon Ayuk's the guy on that team, and he tore us apart. We couldn't cover him. Nobody could do anything with him. 8 for 129, 2 touchdowns, scores both touchdowns on Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson brought his ass from Arizona by way of Minnesota, came to Pittsburgh, and he's giving bulletin board material, Chop. That's not what we do in Pittsburgh. When he was, him and his cousin Brian McFadden, they have their own podcast. None of y'all probably seen it. You're not Steelers fans. But I can tell you, he was on there talking a little bit about Brock Purdy and this Niners offense, this Kyle Shanahan offense, how they've got simple reads and simple tells. He predicted an interception. It was all good. It was it, man. Went out there and got his ass bust on live TV. Both touchdowns. One of them, Ayuk went right in your chest and big boyed you. Got a ball, got his feet down. You was praying to ref. You was praying and pointing to the sideline like, ref, man, please tell me he was out. Hell no, he wasn't. And then the second one, broke your old ass down, had you doing a stanky leg, and then he caught one butt naked man in the end zone on you. I don't want to hear it, man. And so, ugly day there for my Steelers. My youngin, man, Kenny Pickett, 31 for 46, 232 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. And honestly, this was the problem for us. I think we came into this preseason. We came into this season off of a phenomenal preseason for whatever that's worth. And then that hype it's one thing. That's one thing about Pittsburgh. I never like when y'all catch up to what we got cooking. It feels like once y'all know we cooking, I get something like this to happen. But I think what we did here, we came out. I think our first play was 5 wide. We throw a 6-yard stop right to George Pickens so it's 2nd and 4. Then we come back with some bonehead damn jet sweep, and then the game plan goes to hell. But we came out, I think, riding the wave of that preseason and determined to show that this is Kenny Pickett's team. He's a guy on the rise. He's going to take a shot. We let him throw 46 times. We only have 6 rushing attempts from Najee Harris. We only had 10 rush. We had 9 rushing attempts as a team from our 2 running backs. And then we had 10 total rushes because Kenny Pickett had a qualified rush. And so I don't like that our game plan going in, especially and then Kenny Pickett he just crapped the bed, man. He had a terrible day. He was just off. I haven't seen him look that bad since maybe his first 2 starts of the season. Incredibly inaccurate. I mean, he laid an egg. There's nothing else we can say about it. On the injury front for us, I lost 2 starters. I lost Deontay Johnson to a hamstring. He didn't finish that game. Unsure if he's going to make it back Monday or if this could be something that bleeds over for a few weeks. Cameron Hayward.
I'm hearing he's going to be out a couple of weeks, at least a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing as well. I was hearing the same thing. Cameron Hayward, captain of our team, captain of our defense for sure. He's on IR. He doesn't finish that game, comes out that game with a growing strain, and then try to go back in, play one play, came right back out. Probably full-fledged tore that thing because now he's going to require surgery, and he's officially on IR, so he's gone for at least half the season. I mean, it was just about everything that could go wrong went wrong for us, or just about. The only bright spot, I guess, being T.J. Watt. He had 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery on the day. But I mean, like I said, man, it was 1 on 11. What else can he do? Or I don't know what else he could have did, but yeah, like I said, just ugly day for my Steelers. And much like Chop said when he's talking about the Bengals and how ugly that game was for them for the Browns, this game got away from us pretty early, and then we just continue to just dig ourselves in the hole. And so I think for us, it's going to be a throwaway game. I don't think we're as bad as we were. San Francisco does look to be as advertised, though. So I do want to get that straight, man. I came for him, and I called y'all back, Purdy, and you handled your business. So, hey, man, hey, you got it, big dog. I got you. Hey, you got it. I got you. You know what I mean? But I don't think my Steelers are this bad. And then here's the thing as well. As ugly as that day for Kenny Pickett was, he was the best quarterback in the AFC North. When it was all said and done, he had the best quarterback performance of the AFC North. Joe Burrow is 14 for 39 for 82 yards. Deshaun Watson doesn't he throws an interception, has a fumble. He had two or three turnovers through 120 yards. And Lamar Jackson had a turnover and threw, I think,
that's a very interesting point you just made, Willie.
Hell yeah.
And I might have to agree with you on that.
That's what I'm saying.
But we'll get to that. I got some other stuff I want to say about some of those other guys.
No, for sure. But and I'm gonna pass it to you right now, man. But that's what I say. So when I look at the whole totality of it in hindsight, the Ravens won, not overly impressive, honestly, especially offensively, not overly impressive. The Bengals got spanked. The Browns, who spanked the Bengals, they didn't look overly impressive, especially offensively. And so as terrible as Kenny Pickett looked, it was kind of par for the course as far as AFC North quarterbacks are concerned. And like I said, I don't think any of the quarterbacks in this division are as bad as they all looked on Sunday in unison. And so I expect all the quarterbacks in our league, and especially my guy Kenny Pickett, man, I'm looking to see how he responds. But yeah, just ugly game for us, throwaway game. We'll start back Monday night, man, with the Browns coming to our crib and see if we can get this season on track.
Gotcha, Willie Jack. And first off, Willie Jack, don't take this the wrong way because I'm not rubbing this in at all. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's about time we come up with a nickname for Brock Purdy, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think I want to call him Mr. Two Tubs.
Mr. Two Tubs?
Mr. Two Tubs. So here's the thing. I'm going to tell you the reason why, though. The last 6 of his 7 starts in the regular season, he's thrown for 2 touchdowns. Almost the one game he didn't, he threw 3. So the guy's 2 touchdowns, man. He missed the 2 tubs, man. That's what I'm gonna call him, Mr. Two Tubs. And of course, this game he throws 2 more touchdowns. But Here's the thing for me, Willie Jack. I I said this at the beginning of the season, man. And y'all know I make my bold prediction on everything, on Brock Purdy and everything in terms of what I feel like his yards are going to be in touchdowns and all those different things. But to me, he showed again why I don't think he's just a system quarterback. Because it's certain things and intangibles that he has that shows that, man, I understand. Yeah, this is a great system. Don't get me wrong. I'm playing in a great system, but I'm not just a system quarterback. You know what I'm saying? The throws, the reads, going through his progression, his pocket awareness. Like, he has a lot of those things, that work to him as well, that elevates his game, that elevates that offense. I think him as the starting QB, takes that Jimmy G led offense to another level. We saw that offense with Jimmy G, and that offense with Jimmy G was pretty good as well. But he takes it to the next level, and it was certain things that I saw from last year that made me feel that way. So I'm really liking the San Francisco 49ers this year and the way they started the season. Of course, you already mentioned Brandon Ayuk, and it's funny you mentioned that too, because I felt like that as well. And it's not that I feel like Brandon Ayuk is just a better football player than Deebo Samuel, but as far as the receiver position, I think he's a better route runner. I think that he has the better size, the better ball skills, like the receiving traits. I think Ayuk has the edge over Deebo Samuel, but Deebo Samuel is just like, it's hard to explain. He's just a dog. He's just a weapon,
No,
though.
he's a weapon, yeah.
You can use him in just about any way. I think Deebo also has the better long speed, when you talk about him and Brandon Ayuk as well, in that situation. But Ayuk, in terms of a consistent receiver, I think he's going to be there for them. I think he's going to be one of the two to get you the over the 100 catches, of course, over 1,000 yards and more of the touchdowns. I think from Deebo Samuel, we're going to see, instead of 8-10 catches a game, we may see 3 to 5 catches a game, but he still can get about 80 yards because, he's going to have the bigger plays, the longer plays. He's going to break more tackles. He's going to get the carries. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be utilized in a lot of different ways. So it was funny you mentioned that, because I agree with what you were saying there, Willie Jack. And then last but not least, man, on the Steelers side, I don't think y'all are as bad as that either. I think y'all definitely have to go back to the drawing board. And I as high as I was on him coming out in the draft, I'm starting to get lower and lower on Najee Harris, man. The guy just lacks explosiveness. Even on the outside run that he had, the one run that he had that was the longest, it felt like it took him at least about a minute and a half to get to the outside, to get up the field. I was like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? And for a back like that, I feel like, yes, you know what I'm saying, you can be a good power back, but at the same time, as we talked about before, he got to get that momentum going forward so that if he can get going forward, yeah, he gonna fall forward for 4-5 yards or real. You know what I'm saying? Just because of his size and his strength and all those things. But man, I was like, Jesus, it's taking him a long time to get to this corner to get up the field. It was a good run, but Jesus.
I'm not gonna lie. I like the run. I think it was like a B gap run initially, and then he has to
he bounced it. He
he had a jump cut and bounce, and then I was surprised how much yardage he got, because one of the things that I talked about was his lack of just explosiveness as a runner when he was coming out. But honestly, I'm not gonna knock this one on him, because Najee didn't even get a chance to play in this game. I mean, he had six total carries on the day. The one he did get that he broke for, I think it was a 24-yard run. That was the third quarter. It was either midway through the third or maybe even toward the end of the third quarter. And I think that was like his fourth touch of the day. But here's another thing about Najee as well. I think he would look a lot better in a different system. So I think he could look much better and much more viable as just a down and out back on a team and in a system. The Browns offense, the way we see Nick Chubb used, I'm talking about hitting you over the head, A and B gap, power runs, and just moving people, letting him get downhill, use that size, and then using him in a way like that. I think he would look to be, I think, a much more appealing or appetizing back for a lot of people. But I think my Steelers got caught up in this whirlwind of, oh man, Kenny's here. It's Kenny's team now. And we just kind of, I think we went too far on that side. And I'm excited. I'm hoping to see when we get back to this Cleveland game Monday night. I definitely think we'll get a much more balanced attack and especially with Deontay Johnson being out, the way that Brown's secondary looked as well. So I definitely think we'll lean more into a more dedicated kind of power running game and really kind of accentuate the things that Najee does best. Because he is a guy that for that size, he's extremely kind of shifty in short space, in short areas. But like you said, man, he's not necessarily going to be a guy that takes a 20-yard run like we saw and turns that into a 60, 70-yard touchdown. That's just not in his wheelhouse.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have some comments in here, Willie Jack. I don't know if you want to point some of these out, man. I know my dog Miles in the building and the time in the building. They both rolled in,
For
of
sure.
course, man. So they done came in, man. Miles he came out. He said, "Hey, man." He says Harris, Najee Harris is lackluster, and he says Warren has to come in and be that change of pace guy, man. What's your thoughts on that? Do you agree with that?
No, exactly. And see, that's what we were seeing from the preseason. We didn't see a lot of Najee in preseason. They wanted to make sure they kept him healthy because he is a bruiser. But we saw a lot of explosiveness from Jaylen Warren. And so one of the things I talked about going into this game was it looks like we have a potential thunder and lightning combination. It made me think of Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw from the Giants. And so, you know what I mean? Like that's the type of dynamic that I thought I was going to get from this combo, but we didn't even get a chance to see that. Najee had 6 carries on the day. Jaylen Warren had 3. So neither of these guys really got to show their worth. And so that's why I don't want to say that Harris is lackluster off of this performance because honestly, I mean, he didn't get a chance to really be involved in the game. Now Miles says he's a slow Le'Veon. That's disrespect to Le'Veon. He's nowhere near. He's not Le'Veon. He doesn't have the chops near enough the chops in the receiving game for one. And also I don't think he's got wiggle for his size, but he doesn't have Le'Veon wiggle, and he definitely doesn't have Le'Veon's vision. So I can't go there. And then shout out to our dog Tom, man, cheering for his Texans. You know, I think we already hit those Texans, man. Did we already talk about the Texans?
No, not yet, because I told you we got to talk about another AFC quarterback.
Oh, well, you right in time there, yeah, man. Them Texans probably coming up here in a little bit of time, so sit back.
Absolutely. But let's go to this next one, Willie Jack. We had Arizona go to Washington to take on the Commanders, Willie Jack. And I'm gonna make this one short and sweet, man. Get in and out, get out. Sloppy game, subpar QB play. And I think it just came down to who had some of the better playmakers and actually players on defense. And that was the Washington Commanders, man. They had some better playmakers, you know, on offense and defense. The defensive line kept Dobbs bottled up the entire game. 3 sacks, 11 tackles for loss just in this game alone, man. 11 tackles for loss. That defensive line was having a field day, and that's without what I feel like could be their best defensive lineman in Chase Young when he comes back. You know what I'm saying? So 11 tackles for loss, man. And Arizona only touchdown in this particular game was off of a fumble by Sam Howell. That was the only score, only touchdown that they had in this particular game, but yet they were still in it because of the QB play and just the play of Washington overall. And to me, Washington looks similar. They look very similar to what they've always looked like. They get that scrappy QB play. They make silly mistakes, you know, but they somehow find a way to pull out a game in dramatic fashion, man. They just make games dramatic that don't even need to be dramatic, man. So, but either way, Washington, they come away with this W, man, and they take the game.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be short and sweet with this one as well, man. I think you had this as the toilet bowl going in, and I think you probably caught it. And so for me, this game is one where Sean Steichen, is it Sean Steichen the one that's in Arizona, or is that the one in Indianapolis?
I think that the defense.
I think that's the one in Indianapolis. Okay. Well, I'm blanking on the coach, the Cardinals, but the defensive coordinator from the Eagles that took over as head coach. Long story short, y'all almost blew the bag. Y'all got caught tricking, and y'all almost lost the rent money because y'all almost won this game on accident. What are you doing? You cut Colt McCoy, who could have been a viable starter because we've seen him in spot duty before over these last couple seasons or so with Kyler Murray being out, and he's shown himself to be viable. I mean, you know what I mean? Maybe you're a 5-win team with Colt McCoy versus a 2 or 3-win team with Joshua Dobbs, but you almost come in the game winning this one, and everybody knows you guys are on Caleb Williams' watch. And so, what are you doing? You don't need this isn't the game you need to win. When you start Josh Dobbs as your quarterback and cut Colt McCoy, 3 days before the season starts, the cat's out the bag. That man, we playing for Caleb Williams. Anywho, that's all I say. I think you summed up everything else pretty good. Montez Sweat had a sack and a half by himself for for Matt Johnson's Washington Commanders defense. Let me see here what else was going on. Oh, now here's things. Well, that Arizona defense was making a lot of noise as well. They had a lot of pressure on Sam Howell. We saw the fumble that led to their only touchdown. That defense as a whole had 6 sacks on Howell, and so I would imagine. I mean, that's definitely probably had a lot to do with the struggles that we saw in this offense. But I'm anxious to see going forward how Eric Bieniemy's version of this Andy Reid offense unfolds, because I really like the weapons they have there with Scary Terry and Johan Dotson. Curtis Samuel's not a slouch as an explosive guy as the third option as well. And then Sam Howell does have a very live arm as well. So as this season progresses, I want to see how that Eric Bieniemy offense unfolds. But yeah, like I said, man, Arizona almost tricked this one off by accidentally almost winning this damn game.
For sure.
Or at least making that game. The game was way too closer than it should have been. I should say that.
Absolutely. And Jonathan Gannon is the
Jonathan Gannon. He's the guy. Yeah, there you go. Yep, Gannon.
He's the guy. All right, Tom, you in the building, man. We going over to your squad, man. Houston goes on the road to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Ravens come with this W 25-9. What did Jackie want to touch on this one first, man?
Yeah, man. This one was. I was excited to see this game because I wanted to see what Lamar looked like with his new toys and the shiny, bright new offense, and I wanted to see a lot more than I saw. And honestly, man, I was disappointed. And so OBJ and Lamar didn't get themselves out the driveway. Now, I'll tell you who showed up ready to play, ready to ball, and looks damn good out the wrapper. That's Zay Flowers. Rookie Zay Flowers looks good. Rookie Zay Flowers is just as electric and athletic and shifty as advertised coming in from Boston College. 9 for 78. And I'm not going to lie, man. Lamar goes 17 for 22, 169 on the day, no touchdowns, 1 interception, 2 fumbles lost. He ran the ball for 38 yards. OBJ has 2 catches for 37 yards. I think he had that one kind of big catch. It was like a 20-yard catch or like 22 yards or something like that. But quiet day there. And so didn't get to see, like I said, it wasn't a great showing, I guess, for this new offense with the new weapons as we had wanted to see. Injury update there as well. J.K. Dobbins finishes his day 8 carries, 22 yards and a touchdown, but tears his Achilles, and so he's going to miss this whole season. I think this is his second season-ending injury in a short 4-year career now. I think he already missed a year with a torn knee. Is that 2 seasons ago? I think last season was his season back from missing a full year. Yeah. And then now for him to get 8 carries into this new season and now suffer another season in the injury, man, that's terrible news for him, a guy I really liked coming out of Ohio State. And so that's terrible news, man. Speedy recovery there. Want to shout out Roquan Smith, man. Animal. Absolute all over the field. 16 total tackles, 2 for a loss, 1 sack. So he's still he's picked up right where he left off in that Ravens defense. Then on the other side, man, looking at the Texans, CJ Stroud, 28 for 44, 242 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, did lose a fumble. Damian Pierce, the running back there, showed a lot last year, man. The guy who flashed, I think mid-round guy out of Florida, he was held in check and pretty bottled up, 11 for 38. And then Will Anderson, the top 3 pick and the headline rookie for this class, he gets a sack on the season in his first game as a professional. And so, but yeah, the story for me for this is I want to see the evolution of Lamar in this offense. I want to see what all the hoopla is about. Like I said, you've got all these new weapons. They're changing it up. It's no longer going to be hamstrung into 3 tight end sets and these sort of things. So the whole impetus of this season, you've got new money, you've got new toys, you got new offensive coordinator. So now I want to see that start bearing fruit. And then on the Texans, on the other side there, you just want to see the maturation of CJ Stroud as this season goes along. I'm happy that he didn't he lost a fumble. I'm happy that he didn't have an interception hit the stat sheet. You would have liked to have maybe seen them maybe get more in a more position to be able to get a real score, put a real drive together, give themselves a chance to really put some actual points on the board, but that didn't happen just yet. But again, like I said, they're heading up against that Baltimore defense. I think another lesser defense, Damian Pierce, he starts to be more of a threat in the run game, and then maybe it eases and balances for CJ Stroud going forward. But all told, yeah, the game went as expected. I don't necessarily think anybody had Houston winning this game, but I definitely need to see a lot more from Baltimore going forward if they're going to be the team that a lot of us expect them to be.
Absolutely, man. I want to see a lot more from this Baltimore team too, and in particular their offense. The defense looked fine. I thought their defense was okay. They did what they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And actually, both of these defenses, Houston's defense is not anything to just
Sniff at. No, they play ball now. Yeah, they got some players.
Yeah, they're a
Jalen
defense
Houston is
that really plays
I'm
some
very
ball.
excited about.
For sure, for sure. They're a defense that really plays some ball, and this game was 6-7.5, and it was like they with a lot of these early games. These early games were slow, man. They were slow. It took them a while to get going, but they eventually got going. But yeah, this game was 6-7.5. Neither offense looked particularly good. But here's the thing I want to touch on with Lamar Jackson. I think he has to clean this up. He's starting to develop bad habits, man. Bad habits. I mean, to me, when I watched him play, he was to me like he was playing this game nonchalantly. Like, all right, we got this in the bag, we good. It was like a nonchalant performance. I felt like he was careless with the ball, and he was sacked. Ended up being sacked 4 times in this particular game. A couple times, I felt like he could have easily avoided the pressure, but it was just nonchalant throughout this game. And he's also developed this bad habit, and he does this often, where he's starting to get pressure on him, and instead of trying to maneuver, go left or right to get out the way of pressure, he continues to bag back, and he throws off his back foot like he has the type of arm to be able to do that. Don't get me wrong, he has an arm, but that's not the type of player that you are. And he's developing those bad habits and continuing to try to throw balls backwards. And if I remember correctly, that's what cost him a couple games last year, Willie Jack, was when he did that, made those mistakes in crucial situations, and it cost him games. And to me, the NFL is not a place where you can go and just think that it's all good and I could take this game off and then the next game I could turn it on and be good. No, you ain't that good. I don't think it's a player in the league that's that good to say I can turn it off and turn it on when I want to. No, you got to come ready to play, be prepared, because when you start developing these bad habits, they don't leave. Your instincts and your the repetitions and that muscle memory starts to take over, and you continue to do these things against some of these good teams, especially in y'all division, it ain't gonna end so well, man. So I think that Lamar Jackson needs to clean some of this up, and I don't know. I can't say for sure if he's taking the game serious or not. I'm not gonna put that out there, and not putting that. But I'm saying that based off what I saw and what it looked like from Lamar Jackson, I want to see more. I want to see him be more careful with the ball. I want to see him do more of what he does. You got paid now. You paid. Let's go out there and play ball. Do what you do and stop playing around. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I see from him. Of course, you talked about the one bright spot. Well, 2 bright spots in terms of the Ravens, which is their defense, and Zay Flowers on offense. You went through that, so I won't jump into that. And as far as the Houston, man, like I said, their defense played very, very well, and everything was expected as far as C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud had that game, that rookie game. And I think we're gonna see more growing pains from him as this year goes on. He showed a couple good things, some good throws, but as expected for Houston and Baltimore was able to come away with this W in this one. All right.
Real quick, man, before we move on, since CJ Stroud's the last of that kind of big 3 of the rookie incoming quarterback class, of the 3 we've seen in just week 1, who do you think of those 3 rookie quarterbacks had the best week 1 performance?
I would have to, just because of the game and how that went, I would have to go with Anthony Richardson. I would have to give him the edge over Bryce Young. Bryce Young, I think what to me, in my opinion, wasn't too far behind. He made some mistakes, but I think Anthony Richardson probably had the better. And I think a part of that was his ability to rush the ball, his ability to run the ball himself, get out of that backfield, create some plays with his legs, and the fact that his team was actually competing, what I'm saying, he was putting his team in position to compete in that game, what I'm saying, sooner rather than later. So I would have to go with the edge just by a little bit on Anthony Richardson just for week 1.
Yeah, sounds like everything that your dog Willie was trying to tell you why Anthony Richardson was going to be the starter to start this year. Just that sounds like everything you was just saying right there. There you go.
Hey, and that's cool. What I'm saying is nobody was able to see that until he was on the field. You got to show it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Still raw, but we'll see. We'll see how everything go, man. We'll see. On to the next one, Willie Jack. On to the next game, man. I'm gonna go to Chicago, man, where we had Green Bay go to Chicago. Green Bay wins this game 38-20. And Willie Jack, this I'm gonna start this game off talking about the Bears, man. And this game was a prime example of why Justin Fields will need to develop as a passer. Okay. And right now, and this will probably make sense to a lot of you, but right now, Justin Fields is playing like an athlete that's a quarterback versus a quarterback that's also an athlete. You know what I'm saying? He's playing quarterback like he's just an athlete, and that's the way he's going about it. Like on a lot of plays, when you watch him play, he doesn't anticipate his throws. He doesn't think things through. I'm not even 100% sure if he's really going through all of his progressions and trying to read the coverage and so on and so forth. I think he's going out there and saying, all right, oh, now I see him open. Now I can make this throw. It doesn't work like that in the NFL. You have to be able to anticipate your throws. You have to be able to read the coverage. You have to be able to do all those different things, which is probably the reason why a lot of times people feel like he holds the ball too long or he's late on throws, which causes interceptions and things like that. We know he can run, and we saw that. We saw him be able to get out the pocket and run the ball using his legs. He's going to be able to do that. He's going to be one of the best athletes on the field at all times. But you have to be able to pass the ball. And the Packers put together an awesome game plan for that. They didn't allow him to run the ball. They said, nope, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to pass. You're going to have to throw this ball. And that's what they did. He wasn't able to do anything. On the other side of that, of all the questionable QBs. So now, Willie Jack, I know you asked me about the rookie QBs.
Okay.
I feel like there was a few QBs that we were questioning. We had questions about, okay? And one of those QBs was Desmond Ridder. He was one. Because it's like, all right, what is he going to look like? He's his first year as a starter. What is he going to look like? Kenny Pickett. All right, this is your second year. Let's see you improve. You know what I'm saying? Questions for other guys too. We had questions about Deshaun Watson. Is he going to improve? Russell Wilson, what's he going to look like? Like there's a lot of quarterbacks we had questions about. And of a lot of those guys, I think Love was probably the sharpest. He's probably the sharpest of all those.
Oh, without doubt.
That we had questions about. Going through his progressions, going through all of his reads. He just looks so comfortable in the pocket. And the one thing that he did have coming out, and I wasn't as huge of a fan of him coming out of college as Willie Jack was, but one thing that he had, though, was the arm talent. He had that. And it looks like he was able to put together the brain part of it, sitting behind Aaron Rodgers those couple of years. So now it's like, okay, I'm able to put a lot of this together. And, hey, man, he's showing that he's looking pretty good. Not to mention, when I told y'all Matt LaFleur what he was gonna do and how he was QB, you know what I'm saying? I mean, top 10 coach, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna. We still got a long season, but ultimately, man, Packers come in, they dominate in this game, man. They dominate. They still got some weapons. Aaron Jones had a big day. Their defense played a solid football, had a return touchdown. Interception return for a touchdown. They played some really good ball, man. They look like a really good team. And I don't know about you, Willie Jack. I'm feeling real good right now, just off of week 1, about our bold prediction in terms of Green Bay Packers, brother.
In that division, hey, that's for sure. For sure, you're right. Yeah, we both picked the Green Bay to win that division. And yeah, looking at the Vikings still being the Vikings, man, and like I said, consistently inconsistent. I love you. Say I love it. I'm still in that one. And then, like I said, man, then you win one in division, and then also, man, we saw the Lions squeak one out against a depleted Chiefs team that wasn't at full strength as well. So yeah, Green Bay's in really good shape here now going in. And just like you said, I think for myself, I like what you said about all the quarterbacks coming into this year that we had questions about. I think for me, the best of that bunch is going to be Brock Purdy, because I was a guy that had a lot of questions for Brock. I wanted to see him, but then right behind him, I think was definitely Jordan Love, man. 15 for 27, 245, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did lose a fumble. And then without Christian Watson, Baby Mouse, man, shout out to our dog Tom, man. Baby Mouse didn't make it week 1. And then Romeo Dobbs, man, Chop's camp darling from last year, doesn't have a big day yardage-wise, but he finds the paint twice. So 4 catches, 26 yards, but 2 of those catches were in the end zone. So I'm sure more than happy with that. On the other side, Justin Fields, 24 for 37, 216 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, had 59 on the ground, lost a fumble. I think for me, I think this was a game as well that I'm trying to remember the scoring. I feel like this game was a little closer here getting started. I think the Bears had that early fourth and short that they went for. Justin Fields tried to sneak it, gets absolutely stonewalled. Green Bay takes over, and I want to say they go down and get another touchdown right there on, like, they were kind of at midfield, and I think maybe that was the point where they started kind of separating themselves a little bit. But yeah, all told, man, I still want to see what this Chicago offense looks like going forward. I still want to see how him and DJ Moore grow and meld together as this season goes on. His first game for them this year, only 2 for 25. So didn't really get himself going. But I do want to see the development of Fields in those weapons, and then just of that team and of the defense, all the new faces they got as well. So I definitely still think that the Bears are going to be a team that they're going to be a team that's going to be probably somewhere around 6-7 wins, but I think they're going to win a game or two that we probably didn't expect, and I think they're going to be closer or hard losses in another game or two that we probably didn't expect as well.
Gotcha. All right, Willie Jack, man. Well, let's move on, man. And this one we're going to talk about, man, is my game of the week, man. My game of the week going into this particular week, we had Miami going to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. Miami comes away with this W, man. Huge fashion. They win this one 36-34. Willie Jack, you want to touch on this one first, man?
Oh, no, I was going to let you rock out. This is your game of the week, man.
Well, here we go. So first and foremost, man, as everybody probably already knows now, man, this game was an offensive explosion, man. This is exactly the game that I thought it was going to be. Except it was slightly different, but I felt like this game was gonna be a lot of points involved in this particular game. There was one punt this entire game, man, that lets you know what both of these offenses were doing, each and every time they had the ball, each and every time they had a series. The only difference is one team, their offense couldn't be stopped on the ground, 233 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns. The other team couldn't be stopped through the air. And, of course, we know who that was. That was Tua with 466 passing yards and 3 touchdowns in the air, okay? And this is also the reason why I had Miami as a playoff team, where I have them as a playoff team. It's because of how explosive they are. And at any given moment, man, these are the things that they can do. Now, a lot of that is depending on, Tua's health. But I feel like, I feel like last year, man, you don't see that too often. You don't see a guy go through 3-4 different concussions in one single season. I don't think we see a lot of that. So that's why I got to have them there. And I feel like their defense is going to be pretty good too. So that's the way that they performed in this particular game is why I have them as a playoff team. Now, let's jump to the other side, because I know we got a lot of people out there with questions. A lot of people questioning my dog Justin Herbert, and going through all those things. So let me talk about some things. All right. First and foremost, neither defense showed up, but let's focus on the Chargers defense. Their defense didn't show up at all. Okay. The Chargers, they rushed the ball over 40 times, 200 and some yards. Okay. The Miami Dolphins passed the ball 45 times in this game. And you mean to tell me you ain't get not one sack? Not one. You got only 2 QB hits, 2 QB pressures that entire game? Khalil Mack, I brought you over here for a reason. Joey Bosa, we pay you this bread for a reason. I brought y'all over here for specific situations like this to get out to the quarterback. And y'all mean to tell me y'all can't do that? Joey Bosa had 1 tackle this game. 1 tackle. By the way, it wasn't a tackle for loss. Okay? Khalil Mack, just 2 tackles this game. Not a tackle for loss. If we're going to be able to win in this particular AFC, some of these guys got to show up. Okay? Here's the other part. I think coaching, and we continue to say this, Willie Jack, I think coaching has something to do with this as well, because you have silly mistakes. J.C. Jackson, right? J.C. Jackson brought him over, all right? He gets torched this game. He also made a good play this game too. But here's the thing, how he offset it. He gets an interception in the end zone. He brings it out. The boy probably gets 4 yards. 4 yards.
I was gonna say, he didn't make it to the 10. I thought it was somewhere around like the 6 or 8 yard line. Yep.
He puts his team in terrible position in this particular game, and that cost them points. And also put Miami in position to get more points. Like, these are the types of things. That's a coaching issue, man. That's not like, y'all got the talent, but that's a coaching thing, And then people go back and forth with me about how much talent and how stacked the Chargers are. Man, all it is names to me. You tell me a Charger stack where? Because I don't see a stat on this defensive side of the ball. You know what I mean? I don't see not one. Where were these guys at here? You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the things I want to address there. But going into it, like, it come down to the last drive of the game, which is what you want from this particular game. And the Miami defense showed up when they needed to. Ask Jalen Phillips if he got a sack on his. You know what I'm saying? Ask, it's a defensive tackle order that had 2 sacks. Like, those are the differences in this type of thing, man. And regardless of if neither team's defense showed up the majority of the game, Miami's defense showed up when it counted. And they sack Herbert, and they end that game.
No, I got you. Oh, my fault. But yeah, I got you, man. And so for me, man, real quick, man, hashtag in the chat, man, Jellyfish Justin. All right, I don't want to hear no more about your J Herbo.
Oh no, it ain't stopping. It ain't stopping, man.
I don't want to hear no more.
That's week one. It's week one.
Jellyfish Justin. So this is what we got. No, I'm glad you pointed out those two bonehead or that bonehead play from J.C. Jackson, because that was going to be one of the things I addressed. So I'll start there because it was deeper than just that. Because J.C. Jackson, he is a turnover machine, so he's a ball hawk. So he made his name and made his free agent money by turning the ball over. So he is an aggressive ball hawking style corner, and he's a guy that's going to look to make a play there. But I don't know. He didn't take a good enough peek at the field ahead of him. He didn't have a lane there, and so especially like I say at that time and with what's in front of you, be smart. Put your team on the 20 and give yourselves a real chance to even if you don't score on that drive, you still get a chance to flip the field, because now you put yourselves inside the 10 or somewhere close to the 5-yard line. I think they either 3 and out, or if they don't go too far, but they give Miami back a short field now after that possession. And so that was one. So I don't know if I want to charge that to Staley, or if that's just J.C. Jackson being overeager, trying to make himself a playmaker, having visions of Ed Reed taking it back 107 yards. I don't know what that one was. Now here's where the undiscipline comes in. The defensive pass interference on that short ass Hail Mary right before halftime. Terrible. Come on, man. That's coaching. We've got to know better. The only way they can score, because Tua can't get it. Tua couldn't sniff the end zone with that arm on that throw. That pass, if they catch that pass, let them catch it. He would have caught it on the 30-yard line. You know what I'm saying? He ain't going nowhere. Let him catch the pass. The worst thing you can do is what you did. It's just such
and he wasn't in bad position.
Bro, he didn't. It was just a blatant shove. I mean, it was just a terrible bonehead play. Dead ball foul now, and now they get a field goal, and they kick and hit that field goal right before you go into half. And mind you, this is a game that you lost by 2 points. And so, boom, there you go. So that's an easy one to point at as well. Now, there's a lot of other things that happened in this game. So, I mean, it's easy in hindsight to just pick out that play because that's a 3-point swing. There's 3 points that don't have to be there, flat out. If that's just an everyday, one of the things Coach Tomlin says is do the routine things routinely. Routinely, we go into half without an extra 3 points on the board, and the rest of the game can play out as it played out. And you know what? Y'all win by 1 point at the crib to open your season. Instead, no, you don't. You know what I'm saying? And so that's an easy one to pick out. Now, Tua was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Tua was phenomenal. I knew something was different with Tua when he got into practice and got to talking spicy with Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark made a little joke. You know what I'm saying? Said he was getting a little, you know what I'm saying? He said he was getting a little hefty. You know what I'm saying? He was getting a little chunky around the midsection. And Tua wasn't playing like that. He's like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? He was as respectful as you can. Boy, you're going to make me come see you. You keep on. You keep on playing with my name, boy. I'm going to have to get real active now. And I was like, wait a minute, Tua done been on South Beach. He done been at Rick Ross' house, and now he done, you know what I'm saying? Now Tua done got a little something about him. You know what I'm saying? He got a little swag now. And he wasn't playing, man. He came out here and lit it up. 28, and probably was the most impressive quarterback of this opening week one. That's why I wanted to shout out to it. 48 for 45, 466 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did have the interception on the end zone pass picked off by J.C. Jackson. Also lost 2 fumbles. And here's another thing as well. The Dolphins had a chance to really kind of put this game away even earlier because they themselves had a play that they're on the 2-yard line. There's a fumbled snap. The Chargers recover the ball, I think, on their own 5 or 6. And so we take points off the board there as well. So this is also a game where the Dolphins play a little cleaner. Then maybe we don't have to wait on Justin Jellyfish Herbert to implode into crunch time. But I guess you could take that chance when you got Jellyfish on the other side.
That's a stretch.
Let me tell you why I say that. Oh, hold on. Before I even get to that. So Tua has a huge day. Tyreek was phenomenal. And I'm glad I said this about 2 years ago on this show when I told y'all when we talked about tiers. Tyreek's one of one. Y'all can say what you want to about he doesn't whatever else that somebody else maybe do better to him or how we feel about it, or maybe he's not. It took a while for us all to kind of give him the proper respect as a real true to life bona fide number 1 receiver, but he is one of one. You know what I'm saying? 11 for 215, 2 touchdowns. That second touchdown catch was incredible. And so Tua's throwing to a spot. Because at first glance, you say, oh, damn, how the hell Tua throw it behind his ear, over his shoulder? And like, no, he just threw it to a spot. Tyreek looking that ball in. I still know he made that catch. Because the ball comes right through the little space between the defender's neck and shoulder. The ball falls right in this bucket. Tyreek is falling out of bounds and somehow makes that catch. It was a phenomenal catch. In a catch that is made when you have to have it. Jalen Waddle, 4 for 78, and two big catch and runs across the middle of the field. I mean, this team is electric. This team is dangerous. Raheem Mostert, he flashed and showed his speed and showed a little more toughness with some inside running in this game as well that I don't think I've always seen from Raheem Mostert as well. And so I was happy to see that. Now, this is where we're going to get into Jellyfish Justin. And also, I want to shout out Kellen Moore because the knock in Dallas was, Kellen Moore, why in the hell are you forcing Dak to throw the ball 40 times when we could be feeding TP and Fat Boy Zeke? There was a lot of times of play calling where people felt that what's the word I'm looking for? For no other reason than just bad play calling, we want to force risky throws when we can just be more conservative and run the ball in instances where it just makes sense to do so. He heard that critique because today he put up 200 rushing yards in this game for a Chargers team that, if anybody who's been watching them for the last 4 or 5 years, one of the knocks is they don't have a running game. You know, one of the things that people want to say about Justin Herbert, well, he doesn't have a running game, somebody that can really bounce and take that load off of him, namely the person against who that's going against is Austin Eckler. For everything he does scoring the ball, for everything he does in the receiving game, he's looked at as a liability as a runner. Not yesterday. 16 for 117 yards and a touchdown, still gave you 47 yards receiving, so he's over 150 yards combined. Joshua Kelly has a big day on the ground, another 16 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown there. And so Kellen Moore did a lot to, at least in this opening stint with the Chargers. I'm happy and excited for what I saw from the balance that they had, the success they had running the ball, and then even seeing still what we got from Justin outside of when we need to have it in the fourth quarter, which has been my gripe about him the whole time. 23 for 33, 228 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception. He also had a rushing touchdown. And this is what I say about him. And this is why I call him Justin for Justin. Because for all the talent, for all the ability, all the skill, all the things we know, he still just does not show up when we've got to have it. When we've got to have it. Miami does you a favor. You only need a field goal to win that game because Miami's last score, they scored the touchdown, then they missed the extra point. So the extra point would have made it 3. So you need either a touchdown to win or you need a field goal to tie it up. They missed that extra point. So now that's a give me. You're at home. You get the ball back ahead of the 2-minute warning. You've got 2 timeouts. Or you know what I'm saying? You've got all the time in the world that you need, and you're at home. You're going to start on the 25. And what does he do? The first snap of this drive, Chop? Intentional grounding. You put yourself behind the sticks. You lose 15 yards, and then the next play he takes a sack. Bro, we can't do it. And I know we're gonna say, and I know if Isaiah was in here, he'd be like, well, look, man, he can't block for himself and pass. Well, yeah, no, he can't. But also, you can't take that sack, regardless. You can't take that sack. You definitely can't have an intentional grounding. And then he took 2 sacks. He took 2 bad sacks that I'm putting on him because, for one, just like Chop said, Miami got some pressure on him, but that pressure came late. Those were fourth quarter sacks the one from Phillips and then the other one off that blitz off the left side. For one, see, you're hot. You're the guy. You're an established guy. You're a $250 million man now. You don't get this. You can't miss a hot read. You can't miss that you're hot off the left side from this nickel back. And you know what I'm saying? And not either make the adjustment or make the adjustment with the route with whoever that player is going to be, Keenan Allen or whoever. You have to be better than that. Because that's the level and that's the tier of quarterback that Chop and Isaiah and a lot of these people keep telling me that you are. And this has been my kickback or pushes. You've got to show up and do it when the lights is on. And that's what he's still yet to do, regardless of all the talent that he has. But definitely if you're a Chargers fan, this looked like more of the same, if you ask me. Them crumbling when the going gets tough. And then Miami, credit to you guys going on the road, getting this done. I think when we were talking about this game Sunday, this is one where I went back and forth. I gave the edge to the Chargers because they were at home. I think one thing I said, if this game's in Miami, I'm taking Miami. But I try to give Jellyfish Justin and those boys get the benefit of the doubt. They come to your crib and it blew up in my face. That's what I get. But Justin Herbert, he has to turn the corner. He has to do better. everything, like you said, we make a lot of excuses. We can say, well, the defense shouldn't have gave up 36 points, and they shouldn't have. You know what else we shouldn't have did? When we're down 2 with a 2-minute warning and 2 timeouts, we shouldn't come out on first down and throw an intentional grounding. That's what we shouldn't do. You know what I mean? And so I need to see more, man, for your dog Justin Herbert. But like I say, the talent can't be denied. But I still got a lot. There's a lot left wanting when I turn on and watch these games, man, when it's crunch time.
Respect it, Willie Jack. Respect it. I respect that 100%, man. Moving on to the next one, Willie Jack, and we getting down to it, man. We get down to it.
Oh yeah.
Las Vegas, man. Las Vegas. They going to Denver to take on the Broncos, man. Las Vegas come away with this W, 17-16. Willie Jack, what's your take on this
one? Patrick Surtain dominated Devontae Adams. That's the key highlight for me in this one. And so Patrick Surtain, man, look, 5 targets. 2 catches for 11 yards. Smoked them. That's one-sided. When Patrick Surtain and Devontae Adams, that matchup.
Devontae Adams had 60-some yards.
No. I'm talking about when he was lined up across from Patrick Surtain.
Oh, so just those 5.
Those reps.
Just those 5 are the ones
I don't care what he did when he played Middle Tennessee State. I want to know what he did when he played Alabama. You hear me? I want to know what he did when he was across from a guy, Chop. That's what I want to know. And you know what he did? 2 for 11 on 5 targets. So Patrick Surtain takes another step forward. Devontae Adams, man, like I said, maybe age is kicking. Well, I don't want to say that, man. Devontae Adams is still a phenomenal player, and Patrick Surtain is just a great young player in his own right. But he definitely won this round as far as that head-to-head matchup. That was one of the things that I was definitely watching for, wanting to see how he did against Devontae. On that game itself, kudos and shout out to Jimmy G. 20 for 26, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. That had the interception. He has the scramble play, gets the late first down scramble, slides and keeps himself safe, and secures and puts this game away. I'm skipping through a lot of this because I know we got to pick up time. And then on the other side of this, for Russell Wilson, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, they couldn't get it done. You're at home. Both defenses played well here. Russ and that offense still have left a lot more to be desired, but good win for that Las Vegas Raiders team, especially getting a division win on the road, putting yourself in position to sweep a division rival, because now they got to come see you toward the end of the year. And biggest thing, man, the Raiders, Jimmy G and Josh McDaniels, they're 1 game up on the Broncos, they're 1 game up on the Broncos, Chargers, and the Chiefs. They're number 1 in the division. They're the only win in that division belongs to them, so it's a very good start to their year.
That's crazy. They are the number 1 team in the division. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'll say in this one, man, it was a tough divisional matchup. I don't think either one of these teams are going to be playoff teams. Just by some of the things that I saw in this particular game. One was both teams in the red zone. They fumbled in the red zone. Not necessarily fumbled the ball, but just more so just coughed up opportunities. You know what I'm saying? They both were in red zones and weren't able to punch it in. And good teams are able to punch the ball in. Both of these teams tried to give this game away, and the Raiders were the one that, that were able to come away with it. Now, two things that really stood out to me in this game. One is the Adams and Myers combo, okay? Jacoby Myers looked really good.
He had a day.
Yeah. As the number 2 on the other side of Devontae Adams, man. He went 9 for 81 for 2 touchdowns. And I feel like this could be something we're going to be looking at all season long between those 2 guys. And it's going to be like, hey, whose day is it today? You know what I'm saying? So I really like that combination. Jimmy G able to come away and do what he needs to do to get his team to the W. And then I got good news for the Broncos, man. Good news for the Broncos is Russell Wilson looked a lot different under Sean Payton. He didn't have the heavy feet. He wasn't antsy. He was confident in his throws. It was a lot of throws he skipped last year, but this year it was confident. He was behind his throws. He was ripping it in there, doing what he needs to do. And he just looked a lot more comfortable. So I think that's good news for the Denver Broncos in the direction that they're headed. And like I said, off the bat, Russell Wilson looks better. But ultimately, Raiders come away with the W, man, in a divisional matchup. And, got to give them that credit. Got to give them that credit there.
No, for sure.
On to the next game, Willie Jack. We have Philadelphia, man, the former NFC champions, man. They go to New England to take on the Patriots, man, and they win this one on the road, 25-20. Okay, 25-20. It was a very, very competitive game, man. And this is this is why I still have Bill, and I think we both had Bill, man, up there in terms of coaches, top 10 coaches, man. This is why Bill is Bill, okay? Because regardless of what it looks like on paper, man, this guy's gonna be competitive, man. He held the Eagles to 97 total rushing yards, all right. And I know that you might be looking at that like, all right, that's still pretty solid. If you look at the
No, it
Eagles
ain't.
all year long, that
That's
might be
crazy.
that might be you might be able to say on count on one hand how many times the Eagles get held to under 100 total rushing yards when you're talking about Jalen Hurts, the running backs that they have, and just that offensive scheme and how they're built. This team is offensive line strong and they're built around that run game. So but Bill is always able to put something together. And on another note, nobody ever has a day against Bill Belichick's defense. You know what I'm saying? If your top player is your top player, you can count on him not having that day, whenever he goes to Bill, because Bill gonna find a way to shut it down. Other side, Mac Jones, man, he looked pretty decent, man. Over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? And they continue to find guys to show up, as weapons on the outside. So I like what I saw on that side of the ball. Looked like they're gonna be a pretty competitive team, but ultimately, my final definition and say so in this game is good teams find a way to win, man. Good teams find a way to win, and that's what the Eagles did. They found a way. You know what I'm saying? Do any way possible. We need to find a way to win this game.
I got
25-20.
No, I got you. I'm gonna be short and sweet, man. For me, tell it two halves. Philly jumped out to an early lead in this game, 16-0 to start that first quarter, and then from there they kind of let New England hang around. Just like you said, man. Bill Belichick and that defense definitely showed up and came to play and kept themselves in there. And then Mac Jones definitely picks it up, especially like I said toward the second half of that game where they really kind of got it going and started. It made a real push there, and actually I think put themselves in position to maybe be able to win this game before. Is that where they had? Is that where he threw the intercept? Well, the point being that kind of like I think I was saying on Sunday morning. For everything we want to say about Bill Belichick, and I think somebody in that Sunday morning had raised the question of whether or not he's on the hot seat, if I remember. And I was telling him, like, man, you rabbit ass crazy. Bill Belichick ain't going to work till he's ready to retire and hang him up and this is one thing I said. That defense is still very strong, very stout, and they definitely showed their worth, just like Chop said, man. So they really, I think it was a combination of two things. I think the Eagles definitely were slow to get off the bus and just kind of slow easing into their season. So they definitely didn't look crisp or didn't look good offensively. But then also you couple that with a very well prepared and well executed and well playing Bill Belichick brand of defense. And so this is the type of game you get. I'm not worried about Philly in the long run. I think, like I said, as they warm themselves into this season, this game could be enough to get them back right where they left off. I expect this team to be pretty dominant still going forward.
Gotcha. All right, Willie Jack. Now let's talk about some real football.
Oh man.
Let's talk about some real football, okay? And if y'all wasn't here to check out Chopping Willie in the morning, my dog Willie had some questions, okay? Willie Jack asked me, you know what I'm saying, where we was gonna find 20 points from with Cooper Kupp out. I tell you what, we ain't find 20. We found that 30 piece. You know what I'm saying? We found the quarter and the nickel. You know what I'm talking about? A quarter and a nickel. The Rams go on the road to beat the Seattle Seahawks 30-13. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you another thing Willie Jack had questions about. Is Sean McVay for real? You know what I'm saying? Is Sean McVay that difference maker? You know what I'm saying? And we gonna see. All right, man. I feel like we found out today, man. Oh, and one last thing. I told y'all your boy Chop. If he gives y'all a hint on a player, I might want to listen to your boy, because the boy Chop, he know what he's talking about a little bit. And it was one name I gave Willie Jack before we get off the show on Top of Willie in the morning. Who was that name that I said, Willie Jack? You remember?
Puke Chewy. Pookie Nakua.
Let me fix it for you, bro, because apparently you have your system is glitching. Puka Nakua is the guy's name I gave, you know what I'm saying, to everybody on Top of the morning. And what does he do? He just go for 10 for 119. You know what I'm saying? And he goes off, you know what I'm saying? And along with a couple other guys, man, dang, what is his
Tutu
name?
Atwell. Tutu
Tutu
Atwell.
Atwell, this way. Tutu Atwell had a pretty good game, and Matthew Stafford looked sharp, man. And that was another thing too, man. Matthew Stafford's been in this situation before. He's been in situations where he didn't have enough of the talent around him, man. He had to make do, and he looked very, very sharp, man. Really good game for him, and for the Seattle Seahawks, man. It looked rough coming in this one. It looked rough coming in this one. I mean, I felt like they were gonna come down to earth a little bit, but I feel like this was a game they could have won. They should have won. But the Rams, they were able to do their thing, man, with this young team. Apparently they got a lot of young talent over there. You know what I'm saying? And the Rams come away with this W, man. Oh yeah, and AD is back. That's the last thing I'll mention. AD is back, man. What is that? What you got, dog?
No, I think, man, Seattle didn't come to play. It really felt like Seattle thought they were just going to show up and beat a completely rebuilding or just a team, the same team from last year that we saw that looked like they just turned it in pretty early in the season. I think Seattle it almost felt like they just showed up and just didn't expect to. They didn't show up with the style of intensity or didn't have it in their mind that they were actually going to have to win and get this game. It felt like they just thought they were going to show up and just kind of run over, like I said, a weaker recovering Rams team, and that definitely wasn't the case. And so I can't say nothing about it, man. Got 2 touchdowns from a guy named Kyron Williams. Got 100 yards from a guy named Tutu and a guy named Puke. I mean, what else you want? What else you want to happen? What else can you do in Seattle? A guy named Puke and a guy named Tutu both hit you for 100, and you get spanked. You get spanked at the crib when you're where my pick to be the winner of that division. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing worth talking about in this game, man. DK gets in the end zone. Geno throws for 100 yards, gets a sound clip, a sound bite. Man, getting chased down by Aaron Donald. Matter of fact, Chop, yeah, you got to put that in the group for everybody, man. So, but no, like I said, this one for me is another game where I don't think this game is indicative of the season for either of these teams. I still expect the Rams to be a bottom 5 team, and I still think the Seahawks, well, now seeing the Niners and seeing what they are, it doesn't look like the Seahawks are going to win that division because Brock Purdy appears to be as advertised. Man, I dropped the ball there. But I still expect this Seahawks team to still compete for one of those wild card spots where they'd be 5, 6, or 7, second in that division to the Niners. So I still think it's a team with playoff sights, but I think they just got hit right in the mouth by a division opponent on the road. And maybe this will be the cast they need to kind of get off their own high horse and kind of get back in the lab and really go out there and go get it.
Gotcha. Ooh, Willie Jack, bottom 5. I don't know if we're gonna be bottom 5, but I don't see us making the playoffs though. I agree with you.
I'm talking like if we're talking draft order. I mean, I would think like you guys, Arizona, Houston. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all are gonna be the top 5 picks in this year's draft, man.
Hell nah, bro.
Yeah,
we're gonna be that bad. We're gonna be that bad. All right, Willie Jack. On to the last game. The last game that was played in week 1, man. We had our Sunday night game. And boy, did this game get ugly, man. We had the Dallas Cowboys going to New York to take on the Giants, man. And the Dallas Cowboys won this one 40-0. Willie Jack, talk to me about this one, man.
Honestly, man, the Giants the Giants were. You hear 40 points to 0, and it makes you think that maybe Dak and that offense just showed up and just kind of were lights out and just rocking and rolling. But no, I mean, the defense and the special teams kind of put this game away early for the offense. I think the first score comes on and here's the thing as well. The Giants actually had a decent drive to open the game. They stall out in the red zone, the field goal to take a 3-0 lead. And then they get that field goal blocked. It gets picked up and recovered. Dallas runs a touchdown, and Dallas just really held on to that opening kind of drive momentum and really just kind of took over this game. Like I said, easy day on his offense here. Dak's 13 for 24, 143 yards, no turnovers, no passing touchdowns. TP, man, my dog TP free 14 carries for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. And so he finds the paint. And then that defense was special. It was completely one-sided, completely dominant. That defense had 7 sacks total. They had 2 interceptions. Stephon Gilmore in his first game introducing himself, he gets a pick. DeRyan Bland, he gets an interception, also runs that back for a touchdown. So you've got in a game where if you go into any game and you got 2 touchdowns that didn't come from the offense, chances are this is a game that you won and won comfortably. So you got 7 points from the special teams and 7 points from your defense. You got 2. And so that lets you know kind of what kind of day this was going, or it keys into what kind of day this was. And then the Giants on their side just couldn't get anything going. Daniel Jones running for his life under pressure all day long, 100 yards passing, 2 interceptions. He ran for 43 yards, had 2 fumbles. Saquon Barkley was there, I guess. He had 51 yards, didn't do much to establish himself as a difference maker. And Darren Waller and his
The
New
dude
York.
always throw jabs.
I mean, I'm just saying, man. I mean, if we want to talk about it, I wasn't even going to call it out. But one of those interceptions came off of Saquon's hands. He got himself popped, couldn't hang on to the ball, and then before you know it, the ball's going the other way, man. So he was just as culpable in this whitewashing that we see from the Cowboys going to New York, and then Darren Waller, man, introducing himself to New York. 3 for 36 yards, 9-factor as well. So this is just like I said. I think Dallas just kind of jumped on this Giants team pretty early. That Cowboys team, that Cowboys defense specifically, just way overmatched that Giants offensive line, and really just kind of put this one away. It felt like from essentially from the gate.
Okay, Willie Jack. All right, man.
Chop, he ain't had that ball in the hands before he got popped.
Listen.
And then
okay.
I mean, you didn't see that play? That's what I thought I seen.
I saw that play. but what I'm saying is, this dude go out of his way and say, "Yeah, he ain't established himself as no difference maker." Man, this game was over. This game was over before the second half. Ain't nobody even running the ball no more. What does this do? Really? See, that's what I be talking about. But you know, I'm gonna get out of it.
You know, I had to give him a little.
I know. I expected. It's all good. But just echoing a lot of what you said, man. This game was over, and it started with the defense, and it was over really fast, man. Over really fast. Jones, the $40 million man. I'm gonna keep saying it because I want to remind everybody, man, that they paid this man $40 million a year. The $40 million a man threw for 104 yards. 104 yards, okay, and had a terrible performance. Let's just put that out there too.
Yeah.
I mean, since let me call it out some of these guys, and was sacked 7 times in this game. 7 times. I'm not gonna keep going into it, man. This Dallas team looks dominant, especially the defense. Their defense was all over the place. And hey, man, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. It got real ugly, real fast. It stayed ugly real fast. Willie Jack, come on with it, man. Tell me who was your performer of the week, dog.
Oh, okay, no, definitely will. And before we do that, I was gonna shout you out as well, man. Chop told y'all that Dallas was going to the Super Bowl this year. And I'm not gonna lie, man, seeing that defense perform the way they did, that looks to be now also against a New York Jets offense, New York Jets offense and team that I didn't have high expectations for. But be that as it may, that defense looks special. And like I said, man, that when you're getting 14 points from your defense and your special teams, that's definitely the type of defense that could carry a championship run. So shout out to my dog for calling that out. Player of the week, man. I'm going Tyreek Hill, man. I'm going Tyreek Hill. It could be Tyreek, it could be Tua, but I'm going to go Tyreek, man. 11 for 215, 2 touchdowns, and he is truly one of one in this league. There's not many guys that are truly set themselves apart. Tyreek Hill is that guy. He is one of one, and so Justin Jefferson is a phenomenal receiver. He is. He's my favorite receiver in this league right now, but Tyreek Hill is set apart from anybody else that plays that position. 4 years ago, I'd have told you we could have said the same thing. We said the same thing about Aaron Donald. Just a guy who has just kind of set himself apart from a lot of other guys. Prime J.J. Watt. There was a lot of good pass rushers there, but guys that just truly separate and set themselves apart. Tyreek Hill, that's the mountaintop he's sitting on right now. 11 for 215. Got one, took somebody up top. I think it was Michael Davis. Showed the speed that we're all accustomed to, getting the end zone. And then, like I said, that second one, man, that was an incredible catch. Good ball by Tua as well, but incredible catch. I'm going Tyreek Hill, man. It's the difference maker that really won that game.
Got you, Willie Jack. And it's crazy because I was like, all right, whichever way Willie Jack go, I'm gonna go the opposite because I believe both of these players deserve it. So if you would have said Tua, I would have said Hill. So I'm going with Tua, man. Tua, great performance, man. Very, very sharp in his performances, man. And even just to come back and show the response from last year and all the injuries. I know he's been listening to that all season. Mm-hmm. And all the talks, man. And he comes back immediately and says, hey, I'm going to put these points up. Mike McDaniels, man, great offensive, scheme he's put together a track team for sure. And Tua just comes out, man, and he gets it done. Very, very accurate, man. And he looks really, really good, man. He might establish himself as a top 10 QB if he can keep playing like this and stay healthy, man. So yeah, Tua for sure is my performer of the week. All right. Now, last but not least, Willie Jack, we got a Thursday night game tomorrow, man. We gotta preview it really quick, man. Let's talk about the Thursday night game, man. We got Minnesota going to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Willie Jack, who you got?
Philly. I've got Philly in this game. Like I said, that Minnesota defense has a lot of question marks, a lot of holes on it. They are, I guess they held a Tampa Bay team to 20 points. This is a Tampa Bay team that nobody expects to score a lot of points. I think Philly had just enough of a wake up call from Bill Belichick and those Patriots, and so I expect them to look a lot sharper, a lot of crisper, and the defense they're going to be facing is going to be a whole heck of a lot worse. And so honestly, I think this is a game where Minnesota can still, that offense can score points. And so I know last year's matchup, Darius Slay had himself a day in this matchup, and I think Justin Jefferson is going to feel away about that because it looks like some of the mud from Kirk Cousins got on Justin Jefferson's shirt from this game, where the argument could be made that Darius Slay didn't shut him down. Kirk Cousins just threw Darius Slay the ball, and so I would imagine that Justin Jefferson looking to have himself a day and kind of get that lick back. And then, but all told, I think Philadelphia is way too talented on both sides of the ball. I'm going Philly at home to get back and pick up where they left off. Like I said, this last year, I'm going to give you a score here. I've been stalling. I'm going to go 30-23 Philly at home getting this done.
Gotcha. Well, Jack, and I also got Philly in this game, man. I'm going 34-20 in this particular game, man. I think that Philly is just going to come out and dominate. I don't think they are satisfied or happy with the performance that they had this week one. And I think they truly feel like, regardless of who's the coach or whoever this team is in terms of the Patriots, they feel like their game shouldn't have been as close as it was. And I feel like they take all of that out on Minnesota. All right. And Minnesota, the defense is suspect. I'm still not sold on it, even though the Tampa Bay didn't score as many points. I'm not sold on this Minnesota defense. I think, like I said, Philadelphia comes out, they show some promise. And, I think they're able to just dominate in this game. Even though Minnesota Vikings put up 20 points, this game is not going to feel like it's close at all, when we watch it. So, yeah, give me Philadelphia over Minnesota, 34-20, my final score.
Gotcha.
All right, Willie Jack. Well, that's it. That's all, man. We came, we saw, we conquered, man. We came. We appreciate everybody that tapped in with us tonight, man. And talk with us, talk some football with us. Willie Jack, you want to close us out, dog?
Hey, there we go, man. Looks like my dog said, man, we came, we saw, we conquered, man. That is it, and that is all, man. Let me run through and shout out some of the members that was in the building today. Shout out to the fam band home team, always holding it down for your boy, man. Appreciate y'all, mama. My baby sister's in the building as always. You know I love you. Appreciate y'all. Real Deal STL Sports is in the building, man. Our dog Kevin Wilkinson was holding us down early and often, man. I think he was the first guy in the chat today. He beat my mom in the chat. That's saying something, Kevin. You may not. I don't know if you know. When you the first one in the chat, boy, you was here. You was ready to go. My mom be on it now. But our dog Kevin Wilson, one more time for Real Deal STL Sports. Check them boys out, man. Missouri STL, high school sports related, man. They get all up and through there, man. Information that you didn't know you need. So definitely check those boys out. And also, hey Kevin, man, I hope you want just capping in this chat now. I'm gonna be looking for that email so you can get some of this, so you get some of these problems in this pro pick'em as well. So we'll definitely be looking for you there. Man, shout out to Wifey, man. Sisters in the building, Mrs. Boyce as well, holding us down. We appreciate that as always. Man, our dog, man, some more of the members in the building, man. Our dog Tom was in the building, our resident terrible Texas fan, and our dog Miles was in the building as well. Shout out to Prospect and Precision Painting, Atlanta-based paint and drywall restoration. But man, it's 2023. Like I keep telling y'all, plain train automobile, he can get to you anywhere in the country. So make sure you tap in, man, if you got any type of home restoration or work that needs to be done. That's Prospect and Precision Painting, Atlanta-based, but like I said, man, they do travel, so definitely want to spread the word there. Man, hey, other than that, man, I know we ran a little late. It's almost 9:30. I know it's a school night. I know y'all got to tuck the kids in and still got kids to wipe the night before you go to sleep and get up in the morning and get back to that rat race, man. So without further ado, if I forgot to say your name, damn, Charge it to my head, but don't charge it to my heart because you know we was thinking about y'all. We appreciate all the love and support, man. Week 1 is in the books. Man, hey, week 1, we was a little excited. We ran a little long. We will tighten up, man. We try to keep this thing a little more tighter. We try to keep it closer to 2 hours, man. But like I said, man, there was a lot going on with this first week. And so we ran a little long. We appreciate all you guys for still hanging out and rocking with us. Appreciate that chat, man, being involved like you guys always are. Wednesdays, y'all know we'll be back at 7 o'clock. We ain't gonna run no watches. But do not forget, Sunday, Chop Willie in the morning, man. Get your day started right. Get your football Sunday started right, man. 10 o'clock, be there, be square. Catch all them gems that we dropping now. You'd have heard about Puke and Chew if you was listening on Sunday morning when my dog Chop told y'all that boy's going to have a day. All right, you'd have been there and caught that gem, but you didn't. Some of y'all didn't, and your fantasy leagues paid for it. So tap in with your dogs, man. Sundays at 10 o'clock. We have a lot of fun in that show, man. We go through every single game. We break down every single game. We each give our own perspectives. Y'all know how we rock, man. So we get real busy in there, man. So can't wait to see y'all Sunday morning. You know we're going to double back next Wednesday, 7 o'clock, and go over week 2's action. Can't wait to see y'all till then. Y'all have fun. Y'all be safe. Appreciate all the love as always. Peace.
Peace.